Hey, listeners, it's Future Todd here to warn you that this movie is very bleak and very dark. It deals a lot with the responsibilities of taking care of someone who is on their last legs in life and how someone could take their own life because of that, and then the way that the effect of that person taking their own life can cluster through families and communities. If you've seen the movie, you clearly know what I'm talking about, but I want to warn everyone who hasn't seen the movie that we will be talking about those themes. It does get very sad at times. I'm almost in tears at one point in this episode, but don't worry, we still break it up with a lot of humor. There's a lot of fun stuff. So if you feel like you can make it through the sadness, please stick with us. This episode is wild. There's a whole scandal we uncover. There's a phone call I'm not allowed to air because California is not a two-party consent state, but it's bonkers, and we will talk about it about 50-some minutes into the episode. It's nuts. Guys, hang with us. It'll be worth it. Love you, mean it. Now enjoy the episode. This episode was brought to you by the following patrons: Jay's Pack, Sex Caliber Bones a Lot, Madeline, Edward, Sunzi, Vixen, Holly, Natasha, Laura, Boezy, Jeremy, Allie, Jennifer with a PH, Mr. Rage Bomb, Libby, West, Dreskel, Aaron, Kristen, Tia, Lauren, Jonathan, Kate, Isaac, and Karoon. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we hang out daily.
Oh,
I'm recording The Dark and the Wicked.
SD card. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Loading.
Keep that card all loading.
Keep that SIM card loading.
Podcast!
Got my good Flinties here that I ate some during the movie.
Why does Mikey insist on eating during the podcast recording?
I don't know.
It's like every time.
Every single time.
People pay for this.
This is not an ASMR podcast.
What would you call this, Mikey? What type of podcast would that be?
The Hunger Games.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin on Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin Todd, which means I don't like horror movies or Good and Plenty's, honestly, because they're a gross candy that tastes like chalk in your mouth or whatever.
Yeah, they taste like licorice.
They are licorice.
Gross, Mikey. You're gross.
Ew.
But today we watched The
Dark
and the Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paige, this was your pick for Wild Card Month.
This was my pick. And I do want to start out with my pairing for today's episode because there is a new Alani Nu flavor.
Oh.
I didn't realize that Paige went to Alani Sommelier School.
And it's designed by Kim Kardashian, but I picked it up because it doesn't say what flavor it is. It just says Kim-Aid, and anywhere you look where it might tell you what the flavor is, it just says naturally and artificially flavored.
Of course, yeah, it's definitely both. Like,
Yeah.
that is definitely,
It's both.
you
Yeah,
know,
both.
professionally enhanced. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
She is also naturally and artificially flavored.
Agreed.
That was the joke I made 30 seconds ago. Yes.
Anyway, yes, this was my pick this week.
Well, I mean, I could think of no better movie to do at Suicide Prevention Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Is that today?
It's this whole
Yep.
month.
No, but today's the day.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't know. I'd never seen it before, okay?
I'll be up at the high road talking down to you all today.
From a professional capacity, for sure. Like, you have experience with this. Yeah.
Great, cool. I had never seen this. I had seen the trailer. And this movie, like we talked about Temple last week cutting a mean trailer.
Yeah.
This movie cut a devastating trailer. Like,
I'm sure it did.
I remember seeing the trailer and being like, oh, fuck that. Like, no, thank you. And then in the Facebook group, we had asked months ago if we were to do a month specifically to try and scare me, what movie should we pick? And this came up tons of times.
Yeah.
It was supposed to get a theatrical release, but then COVID happened, so it's on Shudder right now.
Yeah.
Did it scare you?
It did. It did. However, I feel like it has so many good pieces, but it doesn't quite coalesce for me at the end. I think what it's missing is the one piece of explanation. That said, I understand why they might choose what they did, right? Because whenever you're doing a movie with the supernatural, you have two choices. You can explain why it's happening, or you can say, life is random, chaos reigns, there's nothing you can do about it, it just picks. And that's what this movie does. And I think it's ultimately to its detriment, because it does a great job of like layering in terrifying visuals, really disturbing pieces. And I think it ultimately serves as a metaphor for a lot of the emotional trauma taken on by people who have to care for their loved ones dying.
I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, this is like the saddest look at elder care I've ever seen in my life.
But it's also, while I was watching it, I was like, man, this is
why you put people in nursing homes.
Yes,
exactly. I got it.
And this is a thing, like, we made that choice with my grandmother, and I think it was for the best, ultimately. We're kind of in that process with my other set of grandparents, but it's been a more difficult transition. But 100%, that is why you have a third party helping you, because it's an emotional minefield for you, and it's taxing. It wears on your sleep. It wears on you physically. All of that. And so from that aspect, I feel like the movie does a great job.
Me too.
And it is very scary. What I needed was a little bit more of, I guess I would call, a dynamic shift in the plot, because I felt like we went scary, 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 and then we just kind of plateaued.
Yes, we did.
Through the end, as opposed to like a Hereditary where you're like, creepy, creepier, creepy. Oh my God, that's what's happening. Holy shit, the last 15 minutes of this movie.
So
that's more of what I wanted.
Exactly. And I do think, I don't know if anyone's ever compared this to Hereditary, but I think you'd be right to do so. I think it's a not as good execution of what Hereditary does. Like, I think Ari Aster's version is way better, but I do think this is great. Like, that metaphor and all of that stuff that's baked in, like that, I really dug that. I think that they had something they were trying to say about grief and how sometimes suicide can like shock through through families or through communities like that. And like, I loved that message, but this fucking movie scared the shit out of me, man.
I believe it did, because it scared me.
It was so hard to watch.
I deliberately watched it during the day because I knew I would not handle it well at night.
I definitely jumped.
Yeah, so I got up at 2:30 this morning and took a plane from Boston to Nashville, and like there was no way I was going to watch this last night before in my hotel room alone. No, I saved this for when I got home so I could get in my bed with my dogs to watch it, like comfort watch a horror movie.
Yeah, for sure.
It was terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it overall because it's nice to see a well-made. It's hard to do scares. And it was nice to see effective, creepy atmosphere and scares. But I do feel like, one, I'm going to agree with you both. Well, Todd didn't say this, but he's going to say it when I say it. It goes a little too nihilistic towards the end.
Yes.
And then also with Paige, I'm looking for that one more piece of lore thing.
Yeah.
And it does a lot to almost get there with like talking to the actual preacher.
Yes.
And then his daughter died of suicide. But I do think the metaphor of like suicides and clustering and traumatic complex grief and caregiving and like how suicide kind of transfers and like if you have a loved one die of suicide, you know, your family is much more likely to have another suicide in the family. And all of that stuff did really good, but I think it went too nihilistic for me at the end. I mean, it was creepy as shit, but also
it was.
The one mistake I think this movie made for me throughout the film was
they didn't eat those fingers.
They would have left. People would have left much sooner.
Oh, they absolutely would have left.
I would have got there and been like, we're selling the farm, and then dad's going to a home.
Yeah.
Well, here's the one thing I do like is that at a certain point they do, and they're like, we've got to fucking leave. And they try to call the doctor to get the dad, and the doctor's like, we can't transport him, he's going to die.
I don't think that doctor really existed, but that is what they see. That is the...
Right.
And
that's
honestly,
what they see.
It might be true, too. It might be. We don't know.
The first night, the home healthcare people were like, we can come 24/7.
Yes. And they chose not to. Yeah.
Yes. I'd have been like, yes, you do that. We're leaving.
Yes.
Or something. Yeah.
Also, dad's unconscious.
Yeah.
So my whole connection to him would have gone very differently because I'd have been like, look, he's not talking or moving.
He's not conscious. He's like asleep or like in a comatic state of some level. Yeah.
Or a demon sucking his lifeblood. I don't care.
Yeah.
All three of them mean I'm not staying here.
Well, and my thing too was I did when the brother left.
That's the
I was
right
like,
call.
Yeah, for sure. But also, I kept waiting for one of them to just smother him with a pillow.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's the ending I wanted.
I honestly thought that might happen at one point.
I thought that was going to happen, yeah.
Which is a terrible dark end. But I was like, what if they kill him so they can escape this demon or whatever?
Right.
And I thought that would have been really cool, but also dark, but like cool.
Well, I do sort of think the whole movie is like a metaphor for like taking care of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that would be a super dark way to end it, though. Like, that's terrible.
But also, it seems like based on like the brother and everything, you don't escape it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely not.
Like that, and that is kind of the nihilism of it. That's real fucked up.
Yeah, that's the part where I was like, oh, come on, man. Like,
Well, it seems to prey on hopelessness.
Yes.
Sure.
Which is an interesting concept with suicide because it's one of the main, characteristics of a suicidal individual is like hopelessness, helplessness, all of that stuff. So I thought that point was interesting that it sets up situations where someone will be most likely without hope and then pushes it further.
yeah.
So, I mean, with the farmhand and Michael and all that stuff.
Right.
But I also think like that's because of work, that's a really dark path to go down. And like, for me, I think I didn't like it as much because there's no escape. There's no way out, which isn't like suicide in reality.
Right.
Or even caregiving. There's options. And so I didn't like the nihilism too much. Like, I think it would have been great if Michael came in, had the knife to his throat, was about to do it, but his wife came home a little early.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yes.
And he was like, holy shit, we got to stop this thing. And then it makes him go back to the farm. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And like, get her out of there. And then, the dad dies or whatever movie, scene.
Well, and again, that's kind of the dynamics that I wanted from this movie, right?
Yeah.
Of like, a little more agency from our characters, a little more of them taking demonstrative action. And that would have been something where I would have been like, okay, then he saves her and comes back. Okay, that would have been interesting, right? Like, I would have been down for that as an ending, as opposed to kind of the stinger ending that we get. I will say the imagery that it is fucking scary.
Dude,
and
Paige.
It's well shot.
You're on edge the whole time.
Yes.
It's well shot.
Sound design was great. I mean,
the way that they shot almost every scene in silhouette was so cool. And like, they made it work where they're like super backlit is what I mean.
Yes.
You just only see them as a shadow and you see sort of clearly the background behind them. I loved that stuff, especially for sort of forecasting who was going to die next and also just like who's going through it the most in that scene, right? I love that. I thought it was so well done.
Yeah.
But I hated this movie because she spends 30 seconds cutting her fingers to shreds.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that shit made me...
Well, and the second, the sound of the knife, I was like, her fingers are next. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, because you see how far back the carrot is.
Yeah.
And then you hear it keep going way past where that would be. So you're like,
well, okay, but what does everybody look forward to at a wake?
Finger food?
Exactly.
You sons of bitches. I love it. But there are so many scenes that are like brutal emotionally. Like when they see their mom hanging in the goat barn or whatever, and they don't cut away. They show what that would be like.
They don't cut away, but they also don't show me enough of who these people are for me to like get it's scary imagery.
It is very scary.
There's tension between the brother and sister. It's a little implied. It never goes into it.
Yeah.
And like, what happened at the post office?
Yeah. What happened at the post office? These are the hereditary pieces that I'm missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of like, who is the brother in relation to the sister? Who is the sister in relationship to the mom? Like, what is that?
It took me a long time to be like, oh, they're brother and sister. Like,
well, she says brother the first time he's there.
Well, Macy was chewing loudly, and they were very southern and very mumbly. So it was like, you miss a word, you got real confused on the conversation.
Well, because there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie, to be honest with you.
It's just really creepy.
It's real creepy.
I will just tell you, I would not have stayed at that house much at all.
Fuck no. I would have left immediately. Probably when my mom was like, you shouldn't be here. I'd be like, well, fuck you then. I was coming to help. I'm leaving. That's probably what would have happened on Monday night. But I hated this movie. Very scary. It's just really sad. I think you could have fixed the emotional stuff, like the lack of that.
Yeah, and it would have made it scarier.
Just by doing like simple flashbacks, simply tell the story of them as a happy family and then what led to them sort of splintering off and going no contact.
Or, Todd, you could have done it in dialogue.
I know.
Because there's not that much dialogue in this movie. It's not overly talky. It's not... You know, you're not bogged down with exposition. So you could place 1 or 2 lines here or there to give us just a little peek more into what's going on.
Yeah.
Because this is a tight 90 minutes and it's not overly verbose. You could spare some dialogue here to paint those pictures in and really give us more of that info. You know, it doesn't have to be 2 hours like Hereditary, although I think a 2-hour version of this would be fucking unbearable.
It would be very scary.
And it would be I think it would be better though.
Yeah, it'd be so much scarier.
Because if you got to the point where you really feel sad for these people,
yeah.
like,
and we don't say this a lot because we usually we're like, they really should
Gotta trim it. Yeah. No, you could have added 20 minutes to this movie. Do you remember when we watched Incantation?
Yeah.
And Mikey, was it Incantation or was it Deborah Logan where I texted you, this movie is relentless?
I think it was maybe both.
It might have been both. It was one of the two.
It was one of Incantation starts off very fast too.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's one of those things where like this movie is so scary from the fucking jump.
yeah.
That like if you did that for another 20 minutes, it would be so painful to watch. Like it would be so uncomfortable from a dread and scare standpoint. But I think with an extra 15, 20 minutes, you could have added some of those extra story elements that would have kind of enhanced the texture of this movie and elevated it to something like a Hereditary.
And I think it goes like towards the end when she refuses to leave her dad's side or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know anything about your backstory.
Right.
For me to justify this.
I need one dialogue or
something.
I would have been like, loved you, Dad.
Yeah. You were awesome.
You're gone.
You were
You're
great.
clearly gone. It's time for me to fucking run.
I've got a life. Well, I mean, yeah, Michael had the right. He's like, I have a wife and kids. They're my priority. I'm not going to fight demons. I was like, that's a really great logical way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely would have left.
I understood her being mad for him leaving her, but I also understood him leaving. I was just like, yep. Like, I get it.
She's the one that needs to let go in that situation. I understand why she's mad though. Yeah.
Well, and he says, leave.
Yeah.
He tells her to leave.
He does.
Here's the other thing that bugged me. I wanted a funeral for the mom to happen in the week.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think there was going to be one at all.
Yeah. I don't think they had a funeral.
Did they talk about it?
No, they didn't, though.
No,
So I'm like, okay, Thursday. This is it. This has got to be the funeral.
She's at the morgue, so like, yeah. No funeral.
They got a lot going on, too. Like,
they got a lot going on, and it also seems like there aren't that many people who would go. Does that make sense? Where it's like it's the two of them and the farmhand who they can't get a hold of.
right.
You know, and Dad who's sick, and they're the only ones who can kind of care, plus the nurse. So at a certain point, it's kind of like, you know, maybe we just put somebody in the ground.
Yeah.
This may be too A, B, and C. I kind of wanted I mean, it's a great metaphor for how like mental illness like reverberates throughout families and like causes devastation.
Yeah.
But on a horror movie standpoint, it would have been cool to find out a backstory like the dad did something really bad, like murdered people or something.
So, okay, Mikey, I had, and maybe this was just me reading too much into it, but then the movie never seemed to confirm it. I had a weird sense, almost a weird feeling like the dad had abused the daughter.
Yeah, I had that feeling as well. Yeah.
And I can't explain it, like, because the movie does not say that
At all.
but something about it telegraphs that. And part of it was like the shower scene, which would be scary no matter what. But there seemed to be this extra element of it, which then kind of further complicated her having to care for potentially someone who hurt her.
Yeah.
But the movie never explicitly goes into it.
Yeah. Ugh.
I know. We're gonna have to struggle for some jokes, but we'll get there. I believe in us.
No, I'm sure. But this movie was like hard to watch.
Oh yeah.
For me specifically, I
was very entertained. Like I love a good high quality horror film that I haven't seen before.
Yes.
Yeah, and this definitely was.
Yeah, like despite my criticism, it's very well made.
No, I say I hated it, but I do think it's a great horror movie. It just scared the shit out of me. Like I never want to watch this again or feel these feelings again. Like this is terrible. But maybe we should revisit it one last time as we go through it scene by scene.
Yes. The first thing I noticed, In the credits, tons of production companies. I was like,
that's
this
a bad sign. Yeah.
It's a bad sign. But ultimately in this movie, it turns out fine.
Yeah. But I did write my notes at the end. I was like, for 3 production companies, this is way better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I bet it was COVID related. Like, we got to sell.
I think that is what happened, Mikey.
Yeah.
I think that actually is it. I think they're distribution companies as opposed to like principal
actual production houses.
companies. Yeah. So we open on a farm at dusk, and it seems to be, I think it's a sheep farm, although we do see goats and a few other things. But like sheeps and goats, basically.
It's like livestock.
Yeah.
It's not like corn. They're not going to build a baseball field.
Yeah, but not like cows, like small livestock.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
Cute little guys.
Yeah, they're the best.
They're very cute. So we see a woman working in like a giant sewing room with mannequins and cutting fabric and sewing and singing hymns to herself.
She's going all Phantom Thread on it.
Oh, yeah. We hear the sound of almost like wind chimes, and she goes out to the barn. And we see that what it is there are kind of strings of things that will make noise if like a predator wanted to get into that barn.
Or if the sheep or goats or whatever they are going in and out of it, it'll make noise if anything goes and touches those things.
Right.
But it is more or less like hanging wind chimes that'll go off, not in the wind, but when your livestock runs into it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to put that up at Mikey's house so I could hear when he brought someone over.
She looks out into the dark and kind of walks across the farm because she doesn't see anything in the barn. She doesn't see any predators. She goes back into the house and she sits on the bed next to her sick husband, who is, again, basically comatose.
He's pretty much comatose this whole movie. Like, I don't think in reality he's ever out of that bed, although we do see him out of the bed a few times.
Right, yeah.
He's gone full Grandpa Joe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is when Michael left, he should have gone to Wonka and, found the golden ticket, and that would have healed him.
The everlasting God stopper.
Because he's atheist, Mikey.
I did think that was an interesting element of this film that the family does not believe. And then you're left to question, is it supernatural? Is it not? I mean, it clearly demonstrates it that way, but I think that's for the metaphor.
I did like that aspect of it too, Paige.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
She's sitting there journaling, which we will read that journal later, and it is a whole lot.
Yeah.
We hear howls from the outside, and some of the animal noises from outside are fucking terrifying.
Dude, one sounds like a wolf, but also a slow chainsaw. Like some of them are like
snarling.
It's like very creepy, like wolf sounds and other general predator sounds.
Yes.
Or horse snorting.
It's a whole bunch. It's not one animal that you can like pick out and define.
No. Well, I mean, the demon itself throughout the film sounds like it has COPD.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like the dad.
When that demon gets back after a hard day of demoning and he goes to sleep, he definitely puts on his CPAP machine. Yes.
His sleep apnea mask.
Yeah.
I think he means CPAPy machine because he straps his her father on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the mother kind of looks out at the barn, and we as the audience see into the barn, and there's nothing out there, but then all of the chimes go off at once.
Yeah.
Which happens a few different times in the movie. It's a great auditory scare, but there's nothing there.
It's scary every time.
But then as it cuts through in the sheep, there's something in there with the sheep. There's a face.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ugh. And then quiet.
Fuck. It's a brutal cold open, man. I was in it. I was like leaning
Brutal
in
cold
super
open.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, because we cut back inside the house and she's cutting onions and we just hear whispering, and she hears something move behind her and turns, and the chair is moved out from the table as if someone is sitting and watching her.
Yeah, I mean, we heard the sound effect of it moving, the demon moving the chair over and sitting down. We even hear it sit down.
Yep.
And that's when she turns around. And it's,
and smash cut to title card.
Fuck,
You're just like,
cold open.
oh, fuck. Yeah,
this cold open is so brutal, man. I love that we really didn't see much of anything. And honestly, you might have missed the face.
I rewound it because I was like, there's a face in there, and went back and looked for it. Yeah.
I was so creeped out by this, even though we don't see anything really.
Yeah.
And you rarely see anything in this movie, and it's super fucking scary, man.
Yeah.
It's like Jaws in that way.
It is like Jaws in that way, but I love the way this movie, instead of painting somebody's face like the nun or using CGI.
That contour, baby.
They use shadows and just the actors and actresses placed strategically. There's very little that I think is not practical in this movie.
Yeah.
And it really works. It's fucking scary.
Yeah.
So Monday, first day, the sun rises, the animals are out, and we watch as the woman we will learn is Louise comes in.
The daughter.
Yeah, but we cut to inside where the old woman that we've been kind of watching is tucking in the old man. And Louise comes in and she's like, hey, Mom. And she's like, your brother got here hours ago. I told y'all not to come.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I told you we were going to. And this is also the first time we see the nurse who's kind of knitting in the corner.
Yeah.
And their mom is very much like, you don't need to be here. And I think because the mom doesn't necessarily know how to contextualize what's happening or tell them what's happening.
Because it's legit insane. Yeah.
She's just like, go, leave. It's legit crazy.
Yeah, but she is warning them. Like I think she is trying to get them to leave.
Yeah.
But man, if she could communicate 30% better, it would have been great.
Yeah.
Because she never is like, hey, there's a demon that's killing your father slowly and will probably kill me.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't say any of that stuff.
Right.
Dear diary, the demon came to visit me today and he was so mean. Burn, burn, burn book.
Which I think is like a part of the metaphor for like, if people are sort of on the edge of doing what she ends up doing, like, they may try to isolate themselves, but they're not going to open up and tell you what's actually going on in their life necessarily.
Well, and sometimes it's difficult to articulate those feelings, I think, sometimes too. Yeah.
A lot of people leak out that they have suicidal thoughts or a plan and stuff. And so it does happen. But yes, you're right. Isolation and hopelessness. There's a lot of journaling with that.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It is rough.
It's rough. But Louise goes outside and helps her brother and one of the farmhands change a tire. And all three of them are kind of talking like, hey, this is worse than I expected it to be. Mom's not doing well. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Which, like, if you are at that point in your life where your loved ones, especially older loved ones around you, are starting to decline, those are conversations that you have of just like, hey, it's not good. We all have to kind of face what's up. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very real life conversations.
Yeah.
And very sad conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I think this movie actually does a great job of illustrating them.
Me too.
I think it really does it well.
Yeah.
But they sit down to dinner and their mom is just not talking to them. And they're both trying to talk. They're like, oh, I thought you guys weren't going to do more goats, but like I saw some babies out there.
Yeah.
And she just literally says, you shouldn't fucking be here. You should fucking leave.
Yeah.
And they were like, did the doctor say something? Like, what's happening?
What's driving this like hostile attitude? Not just like,
yes.
Whatever. What's causing this?
Right.
Right. And she just says, go home.
Yeah.
Leave. And so we cut to them out on the porch and they're like, what the fuck? Like, what is...
Yeah.
What? Like, what?
Yeah, because he's drinking a beer, I think, and she's smoking, but they're both like, bro, what the fuck? What was that?
What's happening?
What's going on? Like, and I do think it was either in this scene or maybe one before when they were changing the tire before, where they mentioned that they hadn't seen the mom.
It's this. Yeah, it's this one.
Since like May, which we don't really quite know how long that's been since where we are in the movie, but it would signify it's been months at least.
Yeah. Well, and this is where, we also reveal that the brother and sister haven't really talked much.
Right.
In months. Now, here's the thing too. As those, people in your life decline, it does kind of strain those relationships and people don't talk as much as they should. Like, almost always.
That makes sense.
And because it's fucking hard and no one wants to, you know?
Caregiving is hard.
It is hard. I strongly advocate for bringing in third parties because it's a lot when you're doing the physical and emotional parts of it. It's too much typically.
They really needed a team that was like trained in hospice, like that sort of stuff, or even taking them to a hospice care facility,
right,
because he very clearly is on his last legs, his last few days, where all you really can do is make them as comfortable as possible until they expire. It's brutal to go through that, I think, just doing it all yourself, man.
And so they haven't talked in a while. They haven't talked to the parents in a while. And she's like, well, how long are you going to be here? And he's like, well, probably through the week. And he's like, how about you? Are you still at the post office? And she just says, not anymore. and we don't get any information about it. It's definitely implied that like it's something with her where she is having some sort of an internal struggle that is making it difficult to maintain employment.
Yes.
Is how it's kind of implied.
Yeah, where she was fired or quit because she just couldn't anymore. Whatever that reason was, we never find out.
We never find out. But they basically are like, well, we can't leave her alone out here. And this is where they have that conversation of we should have done something, hugged her or something. And we're like, that wouldn't make everything better. Like,
yeah,
there's a million things we could have done, but it doesn't change what's happening, essentially. So we cut to the mom watching TV with the dad, sleeping next to him, by the way, which I was like, that's rough no matter who you are.
Yes.
Like, because there is a 50-50 chance every morning you wake up to a dead person.
Yep. Literally next to you. I thought about that every morning.
I mean, technically, that's every morning if you sleep with a person.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, that's, I guess, fair maybe, but
that's fair.
They're going to wake up one of two ways.
Alive or dead. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one
alive.
way.
They only wake up one way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But like, because Louise takes the place of the mom and she's sleeping in the bed, I was worried about that every day. Every day it said like, pop the name of the day up on the screen. I was like, okay, is this the day she wakes up next to the dead version of him? Yeah.
Right.
I was hoping this was going to be a gritty Return of the Living Dead remake with the dates popping up.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It was not.
No nude dances in graveyards. Apologies. But Michael is going to take a shower. Louise is kind of closing up the house. And she goes to close the door and kind of struggles to get it closed.
Yeah.
But does ultimately close the door. She walks into the kitchen, pours herself some water. She hears a creak. She turns, and the door she just shut is open.
Yeah. The demon is straight up gaslighting her, guys.
Well, it's standing in the doorway.
I know.
Not
but
of
you can't
the
see
front door, of just the shadow in the bedroom. But when she passes back by it from closing the door, it's her mom.
Yeah.
Not the demon.
Fuck.
Which is,
This movie is never not scary. Like, there's always something going on that's terrifying.
Well, and so her mom is just like there and she's like, what was that? And she says, oh, it's just the wind. So she goes back out to smoke on the porch while her mom is cooking at the sink and her brother is sitting there kind of working on bills. And the mom is singing hymns while she cuts carrots. And the sound is a very visceral, chopping, kind of squelching sound.
Well, and I'm surprised you didn't point this out. It's because she chops incorrectly, Paige.
She does chop incorrectly.
Instead of going like front to back, she just presses straight down.
Well, she's using a sentoku. Sentoku you would cut straight down because it's a flat blade, not a curved blade. But the problem that the way that she's fucking up the way she's cutting is that she's not turning her fingers in on the hand that's holding the food.
Oh, yeah. I meant with the actual technique of the blade. Because if you do that's what causes the chunk sound that that they wanted off that cutting board, right? Because it's very creepy.
It's very creepy. But yeah, she is using a sentoku, which has a curved top and a flat edge, or at least a much less curved edge, as opposed to a chef's knife that has a flat spine and a curved edge of the knife, where you would go point to bolster as you moved through things, and it does make a different sound. But she is cutting correctly with that type of knife.
Fair enough.
So there you go. But that is what makes that sound, yeah.
I love that sur la table knowledge.
You're welcome. So the brother, Michael, is like, hey, Mom, you should try to get some sleep. And she just says, y'all should leave. Like, y'all should go.
She is
get the fuck
never
out.
not rude or like curt with them. She's always like, GTF out of my house, please.
Yeah. And he says, no, ma'am. And she just says, it's not what you think. And he says, well, what is it? And she doesn't respond.
No.
So he goes to bed. Louise goes to bed.
I really like the way they played the mom character in this because she never like fully communicates, which if you're having this kind of stuff, sometimes you don't. But also the words she's using to describe sort of what's going on, you can also take as like she's in denial about her husband being on his final days.
Sure.
So she didn't want her kids to come because then it becomes more real that these are his last few days.
Right.
So I really like that the way they worked that in. It was well done.
So Her kids go to sleep. Everyone's asleep. She's still up cutting vegetables, and she hears the creak behind her like the chair before.
He's not eating the carrots, so who are these for, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Does the demon like a charcuterie board before he demonizes? What are we doing?
I thought they were maybe for the animals.
Get carrots off my charcuterie board, first of all.
Meats and cheeses only for Mikey.
Only.
And by meats, he means finger meats. So, like, get to chopping, Grandma.
Chicken fingers.
There's going to be no cold farts from my charcuterie board, okay?
That's right, because vegetarians fart cold, as Mikey has gone on the record to say.
I hate to disappoint you, Mikey, but this is a vegan Alani Nu, and so I'm going to be farting cold tonight. You hear that, Jake? I'm farting cold.
I'm icing you out tonight.
Ain't no hot boxing, it's ice boxing.
I would have cut that goat's leg off and served it on my charcuterie board and watched it limp away.
Oh,
good night,
Mikey.
Troubling.
What happens to the goats is very sad, and I did not like it at all.
It's very sad, but goat is delicious when prepared correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't hate it, but it's very sad.
Think about it. If it's nice and spiced, it's like a whole leg just cooked just right, roasted on a big open flame.
You know, from the fires of hell. Like, you don't get hotter than that.
Well, go to the devil.
I mean, it's not really the hotter. You want it low and slow.
Yeah, low and slow. Like second level of hell with like the spice being like the sins, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to add a little lust and a little adultery? Because that's the second level of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's some cumin.
Cumin?
And Trader Joe's lime spice. That stuff slaps. I'm going to throw some of that in there. Yeah. It'll be delicious. We'll cook that lamb up right.
Oh, that sounds really nice, actually.
Except for the lust and adultery part. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have to be lusty with the lamb. I can just be lusty around the lamb.
Yeah, you're not lusting or adultering. You're eating people's sins cooked into meat. That's different.
Yeah.
Down at Goat Guy.
Come on down to Goat Guy. We'll eat your sins and some fries.
Would thou like to live deliciously?
Yeah, wouldst thou like to leg deliciously?
I do think this movie needed a Black Phillip reveal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Butter.
I really needed it. Yeah. I don't think we get it because the family's atheist. I also think it's a little bit of a cop-out. But I understand metaphorically why we don't get one.
I mean, that's the most unrealistic part of this movie, that this farm family's like, God, no, we don't believe in God. I only vote for Obama.
You can tell by the way that is just so disjointed that people who talk like that don't typically vote like that.
Bible Belt, more like humanism and science belt.
Yeah.
You know where we get great gun control laws here in the Bible Belt.
Yeah. And that priest, he's Catholic, it looks like. He wouldn't have been welcome either. He's like,
no, he wouldn't have been welcome because he's from the big city. He's from Chicago.
He's the scariest part of this movie for me. He fucking terrifies me.
Catholicism,
same page.
Ethiopias, Episcopal Catholicism. That's too liberal. Get that out of my Texas farmland.
That's true. Well, it depends because, like, my husband grew up in Texas, Episcopalian.
Yeah.
And so, you know, depends on where your Episcopalian church lies. Any hoodle. So, mom's still up cutting vegetables. She hears the chair move behind her. She doesn't turn to look at it.
Yeah.
She's just like, I done already know you here, demon. And she just keeps cutting faster and faster until she cuts through her own fingers and then does it again and again and again.
I was squirming so much when I watched this scene. It was so hard to watch. I hated it.
I checked the time. I was like, we're like 18 minutes into this movie.
It's so scary.
I was like, we have to stop. I need a snack.
Yeah.
I need baby carrots stat. And I put press-on nails on them just for accuracy.
I was like, yes, this looks disgusting. But she mostly cut them off the first time, so she's not feeling each slice now. She's
That's
just
true.
slicing it up more.
She's just putting them into bite-sized chunks so she could put them on toothpicks and serve them on that charcuterie plate.
Exactly.
Chicken nuggets.
Finger nuggets. I do think it would have been creepier if she had gone like the way she was cutting the carrot, you know, just down the carrot, just down her hand like that.
Yeah.
Either way, it was super freaky though. I hated it.
But then once she kind of has like separated them and cut them, she's just like smashing them with the knife. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And this movie does that thing where like you think it's going to cut away, but there's still 15 seconds left on that film of that shot.
Yeah.
Oof. It was the worst for me was when they find her the next morning.
Which is literally right here because we get a title card that says Tuesday. The brother, Michael, gets up. There's blood all over the kitchen and the floor, and he runs out to try and find her. Louise follows him.
I found Mom's ring finger. I can't find Mom.
Yeah.
I think we're dealing with the ring thief. None of that happened.
But they get to the barn. Now, here's what's interesting. And I know this is probably just a directing thing that they did, but they get to the barn and all the animals take off running away from her as if it has just happened.
Yeah.
And they all run away. They get the basin, like the wash basin, to kind of get up there and cut her down because she's hanging.
Yeah.
And we hear what sounds like her gasping as they're like trying to cut her down, but she is dead.
Oh, I thought it was the sister. I thought
it was the sister. Yeah.
Maybe it is the sister. It's unclear because we're far back.
Trigger warning, I guess, for people. There's something very unsettling about responding to hangings because I was talking to a paramedic about this the other day. My day job's kind of morbid.
Yeah, it is.
Usually when you find a body, they're slumped over, laying down, something like that. It's tragic no matter what if you find a body. But like, there's something extra unsettling about finding a body that's still straight up. Even, I mean, if it's hanging, but like they're like straight up hanging there. I mean, it is super unsettling.
Yeah. I have to mention the shot here because it's awesome.
Yes.
Because it shows them running out to the farm, right? And then you see Louise run into frame and it cuts to where the goat barn is. You see Louise run into frame and it's just panning back. And then
it just pulls back and reveals her feet.
Yes, it reveals the feet.
Yeah.
And then you see Louise react to that. And then you see her yell and everyone comes over and we're just pulling further away this whole time. It's like one long shot. It's so well done and well acted. Like there's so much high caliber shit in this movie, and this shot, even though it was super unsettling, was like I think one of the best moments of the movie.
I think I've only seen one other hanging shot done this good or better, and it was in Jojo Rabbit. Did you see Jojo Rabbit?
I did not, no.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you because it is so good.
Oh, man, I cried during that.
Fuck.
Oh.
I mean, I got teary-eyed during this. Like, this is brutal.
Oh, Jojo Rabbit will fucking destroy you.
It's
not a horror movie or a romance.
But it's also so funny. Like, it's brutal. It's very multifaceted. But suffice it to say, a character gets picked up by the Nazis. You aren't aware that it happened. And through the eyes of another character, he just walks and looks up and sees their shoes at eye level.
Fuck.
And the shoes have been like a set piece throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's that realization, and it's a brutal shot and just made me sob in the theaters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but this is, I haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, but this is very much like that because we get her legs, right? But it's just one long shot as it pulls back.
Yep.
It's so well done. It's also brutally sad. Like this movie is never not terrifying and never not sad.
I did like that immediately after that, we just cut to the next day.
Yep.
Because like, what even do you remember about the rest of that day?
Nope.
Fucking nothing.
That's all that happened that day for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yes, Wednesday. We cut to them drinking coffee in the morning, and we kind of the camera settles on an empty chair. Now, we also, because we've been with the mom at night when everyone else is asleep, we know that's the chair that moves. They don't. It's almost like the characters in the scene are looking at that empty chair as like, that's where mom would have sat.
Yeah.
Even though for us, it has a darker, layered meaning.
Yeah.
Again, great cinematography. This movie fucking nails it.
It is. It's so good. And it's also terrifying.
Right. So, but they keep running the farm. They're sitting with dad. The nurse comes in and she then says, hey, I can call someone to take care of him at night. Like, we can make arrangements.
We can do this 24/7 if you need us. Yeah.
Right.
And I thought it was like really rude of her to try and upsell them in this moment of grief. You know what I'm saying? Like, calm down, knitting nurse. Stop trying to make your bonus.
She is 100%.
No, she's very clearly looking out for their best interest for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have went on. I was like, bro. And then because Michael's like, yeah, that's a great idea. And of course, the younger one's like, no, this is what they wanted. on it. And I was like, God, what a younger sibling thing to do and say.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moments where they're like, hey, we need to leave because of X. And there's a new reason why they don't, you know? Until I think, in my mind, the demon fabricates he would die before he got to the interstate, and I can't let you take him because of that, right?
Well, and especially because he lives for like another 2 days. So there's a part of me that's like, take him anyway. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
There's no saving him. Dies in the ambulance, dies here. It doesn't matter to me.
It ain't murder. It's like a gray area.
Yeah, gray area.
I honestly don't know what a doctor would do in that situation. Like, I have no idea if they would stop someone in that situation or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you called an ambulance, they'd have to take them. But like, I think so. I think if like 10.
I don't know.
I don't
but
know.
also
either.
like the stupid knitting nurse is like, basically hell is no one dying with a person, and I was like, don't tell them that this week.
I know.
That's not this scene.
That's
Mikey.
way later in
like,
the movie, but yeah.
That's like 30 minutes from now. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that's not helpful either.
No, it's not. It's even worse then because they're further into this.
But she got hers. That's what you get for giving bad advice.
That's
No,
why.
but part of me is like, that's why she offered the 24 out. Like,
Yes.
so there would be somebody. They could have taken her up on that.
They should
Yeah.
have.
Yes, they should have taken them up on that and then left.
Yeah.
Also, her parents live in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. Like, there's no
Oh, yeah.
logical reason any house should be decorated in such a fashion in 2021.
Wow. Mikey really busting up this family for their interior decorating.
Yeah.
I love it.
I would imagine they haven't left the farm much in the last 10 years.
That was my vibe too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that place was decorated in the 80s and they just like were fine with it from then on.
The other thing that happens in this scene is the nurse said to them, like, hey, I didn't want to say anything before because it wasn't my place. And I think by that she means, like, I'm here to care for your dad. I'm not here to diagnose anyone else in the home. But your mom was talking to herself when she thought I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. And she would just sit next to your father whispering, but she wasn't talking to him. It's like there was someone else there. And I hoped she would be better with her family close by. But apparently,
It got
no,
worse. Yeah.
it got worse. Yeah.
See, that's basically malpractice. Because, like, okay, the mom is experiencing psychosis, and I'm not going to report it even though she's the only caregiver at night, and then this happens.
See, that I do think it's like, I don't think it's safe to leave him with her at night because of what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, let me just, spoiler, Jake's family is in rural Texas, and we have had to deal with some measures of this with family stuff. And there were times when we reported things to nurses and then they were just like, shrug. And I was like, what?
Oof, that's no good.
So like, you know, it happens, unfortunately.
Yeah. But shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because if I was Michael, because he had the same name as me, so I put myself in his shoes a lot.
Sure, of course.
It's also the reason he remembers that character's name. It's probably the
Correct.
only one. But yeah.
100%. Don't know anyone else's name.
Mikey heard that name and he was like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
It's me, Michael.
I mean, I would have pulled like a wedding singer, which is like something I needed to know yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Which would have been
Yeah.
a very bonkers, silly reaction, like in the moment. But yeah, that's what I would have felt inside.
That's how I would have reacted. He doesn't. He's just like,
Yeah.
you know, he's like the Yellowstone version of me. He's like, mm-hmm,
Big old beard. Yeah.
yeah.
Picnic baskets.
We don't communicate in this family.
They don't. They're not good
No,
communicators.
they're terrible, man.
But like, I mean, we're about to get there, but like stress can bring on very bad mental problems and lack of sleep. And
Yeah.
so like she could have gone down that road where that can elicit some psychosis or something, you know, or hinge bit of dementia, that all that stress would bring on all of the dementia.
And the mom was older, but also we know the mom wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
Because she was working all day and the demon was keeping her up all night. And that'll fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
It will fuck you up.
Gotta sleep.
So we cut to Louise goes out to her mom's sewing room and she hears whispering, and there's one mannequin with a sheet over it, and it's a wedding dress with her name on it.
Which, okay, at this moment, I was like, what demon did the mom sell Louise off to or whatever? Like, what is going to happen in this movie?
So I think this is a piece of Louise's backstory that we just don't
never
have.
get. Yeah, I agree now, having seen the whole movie. Yeah, absolutely, I think so.
Where I think Louise was maybe engaged to someone or in a serious relationship with someone, broke up, was not doing well emotionally, that caused her job to suffer, and now she's here, right? Whatever version of that. I feel like that's such a common, easy thing to have. So then now for her to see this, it's like, fuck, like everything is falling apart. I truly am alone. Like that is kind of the visual representation of that.
I think it was Luis was having an affair with Louis DeJoy, Postmaster General in the year 2020, and there was a scandal about to come out, so she got let go from the post office, and she's just having a rough go of it, Paige.
Yeah.
She's like my parents, I believe in science, and I think we should have electric postal trucks. And then they were like, get out of here.
Yeah, and DeJoy was like, no, please, we don't need that. We need to burn the planet.
Farmland in rural Texas, we're known for our atheism.
I know people want to keep the USPS in business. I get it. But since moving to our house, we have gotten the craziest mail I have ever seen, where the old lady who lived here before us was, I think, being conned by like a bunch of animal rights groups, but they're insane. So like there was one that we got that's like, you know, she like this baby horse is cut up into horse chunks for Joe Biden. And you're like, why does Joe Biden need horse chunks?
He's got to glue this country back together, Paige.
Well, that's the whole letter was like some car accident with a horse. And I was like, was the horse driving?
I tend to think it was a driving, Paige.
Are you sure these not joke of the month like letters or something?
Yeah, it sounds like she was getting like really great mail that you're now complaining about.
Yeah.
So we have a new one that came the other day that just says stop occult dog sacrifice in the U.S.
Not everywhere, guys. Not everywhere.
Not everywhere.
Big government coming to shut me down again. Is that what it is?
Coming to shut down my dog sacrifices. But here's my thing. Is it people sacrificing dogs for the occult, or is it an occult cabal of dogs, like that dogs playing poker painting that's attacking humans? Like, which is it? I need to know so I can mount the best defense and draw circles of salt.
Exactly. Paige, I just think we need to know how to fix it.
Key bono, who benefits?
I don't get mail like that, so that's funny.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to prove this to you. Watch out.
Okay, yeah, please do.
I believed you.
What I heard Mikey say was, I believe you. What I heard him feel was, please don't.
I don't get letters like that. I get like my retirement update once a month and like my bills.
I get a bunch of junk mail, but nothing real. I honestly throw away 98% of my mail.
I don't even get that much junk mail. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my God, Paige is now holding up a letter that says demand letter enclosed to end occult dog sacrifice.
The wounded.
Is it really called the wounded?
Yes.
It is. Saving a paw to save a life.
I hate this.
Paige, can you open it?
Dear resident, occult religions are sacrificing innocent dogs right here in the United States. We must end it. Dear friend of dogs.
Is that how it starts?
Yes, it does.
You are a friend of dog, yes?
Dear friend of dogs, you can help save more than 10,000 dogs each year by signing and returning your End Occult Animal Sacrifice demand letter right now. Most Americans believe that animal sacrifice in satanic and occult ceremonies where dogs are brutally murdered to appease hidden spirits and dark forces doesn't happen in the United States. Those people are wrong. I'll tell you more about it in a minute, but first I want to tell you why it's such a big deal. It's a big deal because thanks to a court ruling from 1993, there's no law that bans ritual animal sacrifice in the United States. That's not entirely true. There's no protection for animal like dogs in satanic voodoo and Santeria rituals that are practiced by 5 million Americans. This is racist as hell.
Yes, it is, Paige.
That's right, but I'll say it again. Animal sacrifice is legal in the United States. Okay, but it's only certain animals in protected... Anyway, we did a whole thing on it in Cult Podcast.
Oh, I know.
If you're anything like me and the hair on the back of your neck is probably standing up, nah. Your skin is crawling in disgust. No, because you're lying. And your heart is broken for poor dogs who are slain in religious ceremonies. I don't want dogs to be mistreated, but also I don't think this is happening. I think this is bullshit.
Of course it's not happening, Paige.
Yeah, this is not happening.
This is a scam.
Yeah, it's a huge scam.
I am on their website.
Okay, hold on. This just got way wilder. Fuck. It's also, okay, they are blaming Santeria specifically.
Oh, no.
What, Mikey?
I got to share my screen.
All right, let me turn that on.
It's like a Black Lives Matter ripoff of dogs being sacrificed.
Oh, God. It's also, once the dog is dead, they sever the head and place it on the altar. This is not... This is no.
Oh,
what the fuck?
Wow.
God, this is bad.
This is the most obvious scam I've ever seen.
Not only an obvious scam, but it is super racist.
Yeah.
This is not good. This is bad.
Why?
Wagployment. What? What the?
They have 988 on there.
Yeah, they'll do anything to appear legitimate, Mikey. Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely a scam.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that Patrick J. Pespis would be calling about.
Exactly.
Why don't we call their number and see what they say?
This is a whole lot of nonsense, of racist nonsense.
Put your face mic close to it, too.
I don't practice Santeria. I didn't call for wounded paws.
All right, listeners, this is again Future Todd breaking in here to let you know this is where the phone call happens. Now, because Paige is in a two-party consent state, we couldn't use the phone call, but it is insane. Mikey does do what I call a repipe, where he explains what happens on the phone call in about 30 seconds to a minute or so. So hang with us. This goes down a weird rabbit hole, and you're going to love it. Oh, my God. Holy shit. I have to leave some of this in. I'm leaving some of this in. How the fuck did we become like, we like turned into an investigative team in the middle of this episode for no reason? I have no idea what's happening. This movie is so sad and emotionally triggering that we became journalists to not have to talk about it for 10 minutes.
We have to do a telemarketer style documentary.
Somebody call HBO immediately.
Did he just say that the Latinos are the ones sacrificing over 10,000
Yes.
dogs?
And and he said, and I can say that because I'm Latino. And I'm like, nope, still not great.
I was like, okay, buddy.
First of all, they're like, it's definitely Latinos. Don't mention California at all. But also they're like New York. And I was like that one episode of Law and Order, which is definitely bullshit.
And also where they got the idea for this scam. Yes.
And then he says he would just talk to me for hours about it.
Yeah.
He'll talk to you as long as you want. Now they have your phone number.
I should call back and be like, what if you want to sacrifice your dog in some sort of ritual?
No.
What would I need to do to prevent it? Like specifically what I would need.
What you should do is call him back and be like, so what benefits are there of dog sacrifice? Like, why are they doing it? And then like try and drill into exactly how to make it happen for you.
Is it the cult of Bob Barker?
Hey, Todd, important legal note. You can't keep that recording in.
No, I know.
He's in Virginia.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm in California.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it on Charity Navigator. It has a 2-star rating.
Probably out of 1,000 stars.
No shit.
There's no independent audit or financial review.
Well, it's clearly a scam.
Yeah.
Would y'all want to perchance even get back into the episode?
I'm having a hard time processing it. Okay, so if we have to cut the call out, let me narrate the call. So
Okay.
I called from my phone, it's from a blocked number, and a man answered after 8 rings, and he sounded like a dude, like a normal...
He did sound like a dude, yes.
And I said, hey, is it true that they sacrifice a bunch of dogs in ritual sacrifice in America? And he said, like, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, God.
And then I said, like 10,000? He said, more than. And I asked him where, and he was very specific, and he said Houston, Miami, and New York. And I asked why, and he said because of the Latinos, and he can say that because he said I am a Latino with a very horrible accent that he just said for that certain spot.
Yes, yeah.
I did notice that as well. Didn't bring it up, but I did notice that.
So I feel like he may have been lying to me.
Yeah.
You don't want to know how much money they make every year.
I don't want to know.
But here's what I will also tell you. They don't have very many employees, but they make over 1.2 million a year.
Does not at all surprise me. I mean, if you think about who they're targeting, right, with that,
100.
they're targeting like middle America white women who love animals. Like that is their bread and butter.
You know, let's just get back into it.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of questions here, and there's just some rabbit holes I don't want to go down.
We need to get Pepsis on this case, though.
Pespis!
If you guys haven't watched the Telemarketers doc on HBO, watch
Yes.
it. It's great.
I watched it.
Also, can I say this about telemarketers?
Uh-huh.
That movie also does a great representation of how through medically assisted treatment, you can wean yourself off of heroin and save your life.
Yes.
And we don't have enough of that like positive reinforcement of that stigma that's out there about methadone and Suboxone and
Yes.
stuff like like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool and not even talked about.
That's how Patrick J. Pespis is still fucking with us. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Although it is wild seeing him pass out in the middle of a phone call and then come back and be like, yeah, I'm calling from the Fraternal Order of the Police. Like, just without missing a fucking beat and then making a sale. I was like, Patrick J. Pespis, you are a legend.
The guy is a legend. Like, I get why everyone at that call center was enamored with him.
Absolutely. Anyway, back to this movie. They go out to a pet cemetery.
Not that pet cemetery, though, just in case.
Just a regular one.
Just a normal pet cemetery.
But it was like where they would bury her favorite goats. Like, it was actually sort of sweet.
10,000 goats get sacrificed a year in this country. Why don't you people stand up? It happens in Sheboygan, Long Island, and Phoenix.
You know, the extensive goat population in Phoenix.
Also, we should definitely say, and maybe put this at the beginning of the episode, all of these are just our opinions, and this is a big ol' allegedly, please don't sue us.
Yes.
Yeah, allegedly the Greeks aren't sacrificing that many goats.
I can be your hero, baby. I can spin a wheel of meat.
Biden's big government doesn't want you to know what's going on with the goats.
They're turning the goats straight.
He's got his horse chunks, but that wasn't enough. He needs goat chunks.
The government takes 25%, one leg of each goat because it's big government of each sacrifice.
I do love that this metaphor in this movie is 1,000% about the government and how we should all be libertarians in rural Texas.
Maybe if we had better health care like the commies want, their dad could have been in a state-of-the-art facility and they wouldn't worry financially about it. But we don't want that because that's big government. We don't need that.
Yeah. And do you know how many goats it would take to make that happen?
Yeah. You got to sacrifice so many goats and then a fourth more because big government takes its cut.
Right. So you got to cut your goats with sheep so that you can make more off. I've been watching too much Power. I'm sorry.
I love that your brain connected like the white coats that goats and sheep have, and you like contribute it to like baking soda and cocaine. I've heard that song, Paige. I know how to make crack, okay?
Yeah, no, it was more where Mikey was like, and then they take a fourth, so how are you going to get your cut? And I was like, well, you got to cut it first. You got to cut the brick so that you can sell the brick and then use that money to buy your next brick, but then you're banking those stacks. I was like, oh, I got to go out of the house.
Yes, but instead of bricks, these are goats.
Yeah, and never try your own supply, Mikey, with the goats.
You don't want to get hooked on it. Shawarma is delicious.
I'm already hooked on chèvre. It's a problem.
I don't even know what that is. I just like the way you said it.
It's goat cheese. I've got 2 logs of it in my fridge.
That's a felony amount.
You got like a whole kilo of chèvre, you bitch.
Intention to distribute.
I was just trying to make appetizers. I was making a charcuterie plate.
Paige, as your lawyer, I'm going to go ahead and inform you that you should stop talking right now. You're incriminating yourself.
Damn it.
Appetizers are obviously meant to be shared. That is distribution.
You're infringing on my right to sacrifice goats to my God.
Which God?
My American God.
I thought you were going to say Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
That family is probably the only atheist Trump voters.
I'm sure there's others. Anyway, at this point, Louise and Michael get into kind of an argument where Louise is like, who was she talking to? What was going on? And her brother's like, I don't even want to think about it because we won't get answers. It's just tragic. You don't always get answers.
They're dealing with it different ways. Like, she wants to fucking figure it out.
Right.
And he's like, I think taking maybe not a healthier approach, but a very different approach of just like, we're never going to know. I'm going to do my best just not to think about it. So he's doing like the avoidant path, right? Where he's just going to try to avoid it. And it's probably going to end up coming out sideways in his life because of it. But yeah.
And I feel like the best option is somewhere in the middle because he's right.
Yeah.
They may never have answers.
Yeah, he definitely has a point, Paige. You're right.
I watched this with a couple of friends today. I have friends, and that is on the record.
Mikey, as your lawyer, I'm going to go ahead and inform you that we all thought you had friends until this moment, honestly. Like,
I definitely have friends. I definitely didn't sacrifice 14 dogs and 3 goats to get friends.
Did you know that 10,000 friends die every year in occult sacrifices?
You know how many David Schwimmers go missing every fucking year, guys?
No one misses Ross. Ross is never missing.
He was on a break, Paige.
Oh my God.
I'm so glad we got somewhere funny in this episode, because if not, it was going to be brutal, sad talk.
All I had to do was call a stranger and ask about ritualistic animal sacrifice.
And he also gave you the most racist answer. That was insane.
Well, I mean, it was a loaded question, I guess.
Yeah. Loaded with dead dogs.
He's like, people are talking certain ethnicities are sacrificing all the dogs.
I was like, just Latinos?
Mikey, as someone who heard the conversation firsthand and very badly wishes California was a one-party consent state or whatever it is, so we could use that.
Yeah.
It's not. I know. That's why we can't play it.
If we had a lawyer we could consult, because I made the phone call from Tennessee.
It doesn't matter. I'm on the phone call.
Well, we're not going to even chance it, man. But like, you did ask the question of like, where is it happening with the vibe of, you wouldn't happen to be racist, would you? Honestly, it was artful to watch.
It's all in the tone, really.
It is. Yeah, it was great.
And why is it those cities? Oh, that's incredibly racist. Thank you. If I have any more questions, I'll call back, I guess. Oh, anyway, I was talking about, this is like a 180. After a suicide or some sort of major thing like that, a lot of families are like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
And like, they try to explain it.
Yeah.
And I kind of explain it to people and people in my life. If you don't understand someone's actions, people tend to fill in the missing pieces with themselves of like, I didn't catch this or I did this. And it's a very human thing, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think seeing such as suicide or severe mental illness are as easily explained such as that. So it's hard to break that off. But that guilt, that survivor's guilt really well, because we do substitute in ourselves for explanations. But I was just, if you went through her, if I was in that family and I went through her journal and heard what the nurse said and then saw the fingers on the floor and then, found her or whatever, it would, it doesn't make sense. It's like, mental illness doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do that. It's never going to do that. But that's really hard to explain to families. And I think that grief is like that overall, but it's specifically in suicides. And it can be very, very complicated and haunt you.
I think they do a great job of displaying that in like one, it's almost a throwaway line between the two of them, because she says, we should have talked to her. And he says, yeah, we didn't. And like, he says it like with so much fucking regret. Like, it's so brutally sad. I've dealt with shit like that. It's so difficult.
But even if they did, there's no guarantees.
I think this movie sort of says that.
It's like you can say everything right and things go wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
With family members, with specifically suicide. But that's what people feel.
Yeah, and I think that family members will look for, and you've talked about this before, Mikey, so cut me off if I'm paraphrasing you incorrectly, but they will look for how like they were involved in it, because then it feels like they have some control back of their life, And I think that is what this sort of thing is. Like, I could have just talked to her and then that would have fixed it. But that's not the case.
I do think as humans, we want things to make logical sense.
Yeah.
Like, and grief is like that overall of like, this is my fault. If I didn't drive this car, they wouldn't have been in this car wreck. Not to pull your example, but if I did something different, that day would have gone differently. Or if I would have talked to them a week ago, they wouldn't have died of suicide. And the world would make sense like that if the world was logical and made sense. But the world is not logical, and it doesn't make sense, and it's hard.
I dealt with that really, really hard for a long, long time, because I'm the one who asked, can you take me to Wendy's and then take me back to school? So like, I was the reason we were where we were when it happened. So yeah, like that, it's just fucking brutal. Like, you really, like, that really eats at you for fucking ever.
And the logic of that is, yes, that's not your fault. And you can be like, yes, I know it's not my fault. But the feelings of that guilt, the feelings exist, and getting through that takes therapy and it takes a lot of work.
It does, man.
Yeah, it's because I feel like we as humans tend to try to make sense of things that we can't make sense of.
Yeah.
Oof. Or like, I committed a sin and God has smited, that's why I got in a car wreck, or what, it's like people try to make sense of things, and it's hard to live that way.
Paige, during this conversation, Paige is putting on a beanie. What are you doing, Paige?
I was putting on a beanie. I was going to try and see if it fit over my headphones.
I think it could.
I think so too. Hold on.
I love that. Like, I am almost in tears. Like, I was like fighting tears, and we're still on some level just trying to make each other laugh. And I fucking love that about you too.
Paige is just really bored about you talking about your stuff. It's like been every episode.
Oh, I know. This movie like really triggered my shit though, man. Like it really hit me.
Paige, you kind of look like someone who would sacrifice a dog.
Or a friend. You know what I'm saying?
I would never.
Cut this out, but you know what I'm saying, S.A.?
I'm not cutting that out because that's what that dude said, more or less. He didn't say S.A., he said something else, but like, yeah, it was more or less that.
That was fucking wild. I am blown. I can't do anything.
This movie was so sad for us to talk about. We literally became investigative journalists for 30 minutes in the middle of this episode.
This is what happens when we do too nihilistic of movies. Because this movie really, I read about this director because I liked his, and it's like one of his criticisms is like he directs movies where like evil is evil and like good guys, doesn't matter what they do, it comes for them and kills them. They have no control. And I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it, but I also don't like movies like that.
The reason I don't like movies like that is because that's what life feels like. And I don't want to necessarily see that. Like, I realize that our ultimate enemy in life is time. Like, I get that.
Mine is Todd Slosser.
You son of a bitch. But you know what I mean? Like, I get that, like, there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to come for us all, right?
Right.
Like, I don't need to see that in every movie. Like, I need some escapism.
Well, his is not even time. It's like an evil entity. You have no power, no control, nothing you do no matter what. It's coming to kill you. You can't escape it. Kind of like It Follows.
Well, by time, I mean ultimately death.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly like It Follows.
And you know, but things you do make a difference. I don't believe that. I do believe that choices you make do make a difference in some way, shape, or capacity.
Oh, I completely agree.
But anyway, I do feel like when movies get too nihilistic, we like go through the dark hole into like some sort of abyss land of
weird
like
place.
Yes.
And that's how we found out about the thousands of friends that die every year.
Yeah, man's best friend.
I'm honestly ashamed it took us this long to get there.
I still am not convinced that it's not the dogs doing the sacrificing. I'm just saying.
Actually, that photo that Mikey brought up of some of their marketing stuff looks sort of like they'd be capable.
Yeah,
I don't know what dogs are planning.
And that's what makes it so scary, Mikey. Please don't sacrifice dogs, but also it's not happening on a large scale.
Yeah, of course
Or
not.
do it. I don't care.
No, Mikey.
This is like the Michelle Remembers of mailers.
The way that he implied it, I think it was only Chihuahuas, so like big loss.
No, fuck, stop. It's so racist.
It is so
Stop.
racist.
I'm sorry. Cut that out.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. You cannot sacrifice. Sorry, I'll cut that too. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's really not us being racist, though, Paige. It's that guy being racist and us making fun of that guy. It is terrible. Please don't mistake it.
It is terrible.
I didn't even know that dog sacrifice was a racial stereotype until today. And like,
Honestly, that's not one I've been familiar with.
well, and the tone he used on me, like I should know.
Oh,
yeah.
He was talking to you like you were a big ass dummy, Mikey, and it was great to hear.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
But when you were like, what do you, how many? Like 10,000? And he goes, more than that, man.
Oh, God.
I was like, good Lord. Like, what?
Why there? That's where the Latinos are, dude. Don't you even know what I'm talking about? God, I cannot believe that guy answered.
That dude is sitting at home alone at 9:30 at night, and he had his phone forwarded to it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not a 1-800 number, Todd. It is just the area code of Virginia and a regular number.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You called his phone. You called his cell phone. He answered while watching like football or some shit and was like just talking to you about how dog sacrifices are going because he wants to scam you out of money.
I should have been like, well, I hate dogs, so I'm all about this.
We've drifted into late night energy on a very serious movie because of that bizarre phone call. I'm sorry for bringing the occult dog sacrifice into our lives.
And I literally got up at 2:30 a.m. this morning to fly back home from Boston.
What were you doing up at the witching hour? Sacrificing friends?
No, of course not. No, of course, Wank.
You do go to Taco Bell a lot.
This just in on my CNN alert. A Delta passenger 6-year-old dog has gone missing at the Atlanta airport.
Is that real? Mikey, screenshot that. I demand to see the proof of that.
We're on the fucking case. I suspect Satan.
Follow the pause. was.
It got found safe, but
Okay.
Oh, well, shit.
it took him a month.
Safe for now.
He was being dog trafficked
It took him a month?
so they could do voodoo on it.
You son of a bitch.
And then I almost died falling out of my chair.
I only try to make you two laugh.
I like that it's also a picture of your dog, as if you're like, this is the last known whereabouts.
I was about to say that. Like, that is the cutest screenshot because it's like Delta talking about how a 6-year-old dog was lost, and here's Macy looking like a 6-year-old dog, but like smiling.
She's 6 until 25th.
Yeah, like she's like, oh yeah, lost. We definitely didn't sacrifice one of our own to the Bark Lord. If you will. The Bark and the Wicked. Oh my goodness, this got off the rails. We gotta finish this movie.
Would thou like to live dogliciously?
One call to a racist, and it's just we all lost our minds.
Oh, good night. Anyway, so
Suicide.
we cut to Louise in the shower, and she hears someone come in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she's just like, hi, I just need 3 minutes to shower in peace, and throws the curtain open, and it's her dad standing there peeing himself.
Yeah, it's not Thelma.
It's Louise. And off the cliffs of insanity because it's her dad.
I yelled and jumped in this scene. This was the scariest scene for me.
I lost it, man.
And it lasts for a while.
It does.
It goes on.
That's what I mean. Woo. I said this before, but this is another example of it where like you want it to cut away, but there's 15 more seconds in that can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're going to get it more. And it's so scary. And it's a lot of her like ducks down in the corner of that shower yelling.
Oh, yeah. It's oof.
She does an amazing job in this movie. I think everyone honestly does a really good job. But she is a huge standout in this movie. She's so good.
Her brother runs in, and of course her dad's not there, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking? Dad's comatose. What are you?
Right.
And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. She's like, he was there though. Like, I remember it. So she goes out to the porch to have a cigarette. And as Michael, her brother, is kind of tucking dad in, he finds mom's journal and he brings it out to the porch and he's like, I read the last page and it's basically, I know he's there in the darkness. Help me, please. He's killing David. There's nothing I can do. Devil, devil, devil. He wants David's soul. And he's basically just like, so some shit was going down while we weren't here, obviously.
Clearly, yeah.
But what we will learn is that this is not a religious family. So this is very out of character. This is not the case of like someone who had been very devout in life who is now taking that devotion to an extreme.
No. This is like Jaime Lannister going back to Cersei in season 8 saying he loved her, just way out of character.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's wild that you're still salty about Game of Thrones.
I will never not be salty about the end of Game of Thrones.
I think because of the way they ended it, I no longer give a shit about Game of Thrones at all in any capacity.
10,000 dragons die every year.
Ritual sacrifice. You might as well call it Worsteros.
Because it's the Worsteros?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's my favorite tasting sausage, though.
Oh, Worsteros sauce.
I just hate it so. Like, I never have hated a thing of entertainment like I hate season 8 of Game of Thrones.
What do you hate worse, that or Star Wars?
Oh, the fact that this is taking so long to answer is terrifying, Mikey.
And they both happen around the same time.
Mikey, the Alien prequels.
The Alien ones don't bother me as much because I wasn't as personally invested into. Like Game of Thrones, I read all the books that were released up to that point before season 1. And, he hasn't released a new book since then. But season 8 of that and Last Jedi plus Rise of Skywalker all together make up the biggest disappointment in my entertainment career since X-Men 3 and Spider-Man 3 came out the same summer.
Oh, fuck, that was a bad summer.
It was a dark-ass summer. I was like, I guess that's a wrap for superhero movies, and I was very wrong. So, listeners, I want to point out that I cut out about 15 minutes of Mikey ranting about Star Wars. In that. But it did feel a lot like a TED Talk and was very well thought out.
That's true. There you go. Despite those complaints about Star Wars and superhero movies, I want to ask Todd if you did what Mikey and I browbeat you into doing. and watched Time Cop, the ultimate action film.
Are you asking me, have I watched Time Cop?
Yeah, did you do what we asked you to do?
You had a whole flight to watch it on.
Bro, I literally, I've been working 24/7 for the past 5 days. And I'm like, I literally got back this morning. No, I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it, but I have not had time.
This is going to be stars all over again, but with Time Cop.
You know, the bitch of it is, I have stars and have had it for a while. Still haven't gotten to Party Down, and I really want to watch it. I'm just super busy with this new job. It sucks. I mean, I love the job. It's just busy.
Traitor. So the next day, she and her brother are walking through the mom's sewing room in the barn, and he says, well, how'd she get up there, though? Because, like, you brought the tub over. There was nothing for her to stand on. How did she hang herself?
Better question. How'd she do it with 6 fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that, too.
I'm asking the real questions here that they're not even asking.
Yeah.
Why did she keep her thumb? Is that why you're asking? Yeah, I wondered that, too, because that's where the good meat is, you know?
Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking. Black Phillip did it.
Oh, I think we see how it happens when he looks outside in a few minutes because she floats up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, also, I mean, the tub looked like it was a plastic tub.
No, it was metal.
Was it metal?
It was definitely metal. Yeah,
It was definitely metal,
It like
yeah.
clanked to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to Louise is reading the diary a lot.
Yes.
And it's a lot of like, there's voices in my head. It makes me want to die. He climbs on the bed and hurts David and he laughs at me. I'm already dead. And we cut to them at the morgue where they've turned her body over.
Yeah.
Face down?
No, like they've turned the body over to the morgue.
Oh,
Mikey.
right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he gives them the mortician or the medical tech, whatever, gives them, they're like, oh, these were all in her pocket. I thought you might like them. And there are a ton of crosses. He's like, they give them that at Sunday school. And this is the point where they're like, she was not religious. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why she would have these.
They literally say, we are all atheists.
Yeah. And she's got a whole bunch of them.
Yes. It's like, I would say probably 25. Like, there's a lot of them. And they're not huge. They're like little brass, little crucifixes. Crucify? I don't know what it is if it's plural, but there's a bunch of them. But we see where she got them, right?
Maybe.
Oh, I saw the father because of the context we find out later. Anytime he's on the screen, he's the demon. So that was the demon who handed it to him in the truck, in my mind.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Possible. Or I think she started getting them somewhere.
Oh, like collecting them? Yeah.
As protection of some sort.
Sure.
We don't know. The movie doesn't tell us.
Yeah.
But we cut to the dad is coughing in his sleep and Louise is trying to kind of comfort him. And as she does, a spider comes out of his mouth, and a big one.
I hated this too. The effects on this don't look awesome anytime you see the spiders in the face.
Yeah.
But it is creepy, man.
And she tries to like kill it, but it disappears. And the brother's like, what's going on? She's like, oh, there's a spider. He's like, did you get it? And she was like, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah. I think she's sort of starting to hallucinate before the brother does, because he eventually does too.
Yes.
Earlier, because she's digging into it. She's like, I think, attacking her grief, which I'm not saying is the right way to do it, but I think that's why she's getting into it faster than he does. He's just like sitting in it and trying not to think about it. But eventually, he also falls victim to it as well.
Yeah. And so we cut to her standing at the sink, much like her mother did.
Yeah.
Cleaning her mother's blood out of the sink.
Just like her mother before her.
Just like her mother before
and
her.
Her mother before
because
then. Because
10,000 mothers die every year in ritual occult sacrifice.
A woman's place is in the kitchen, chopping her own fingers off. How many times do I have to say this? Traditional American values.
Yeah. Make America adrenochrome again, Paige.
Yeah, women can't point the finger if they cut their own fingers off.
Anyway, we see her smoking on the porch and reading from the diary, and we cut to her tossing and turning next to her dad, but then we cut to her brother's room where the lights come on.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and there's no one there. He goes back to bed.
This scene goes on for so long and is so tense, man.
Yeah. And so he turns the lights off. He goes back to bed. Then the lights come on again. And he gets up and kind of looks around the room, doesn't see anything, turns the lights off. He looks out his window out at the barn, doesn't see anything, goes across to the other window and looks out, and his mom is just outside floating.
Yes. We sort of see her rise up a little bit too, and there's like smoke on the ground. It's very creepy. Well, by smoke I mean more like fog.
Yeah.
And she like sort of rises up to the position she was in when she was hanging, when they found her. Like, fuck, it's brutal, man.
Yeah, well, and she's singing a hymn, which we kind of hear her sing throughout the movie, which is, again, strange for an atheist to sing a hymn.
It is.
Which is also why I think maybe she was collecting the crosses, that she's like, if this is real, then this is my only... Like, it's kind of like Utah, where it's like, it's not real until it is, and then fuck that, you know? Like...
Yeah, 100%. And I do think this could be seen as like, maybe she was raised religious and then eventually decided to be an atheist and like raised her family to be atheist, but now in this weird moment, because clearly some shit is happening. She remembers like from her childhood when she was a believing person and like sort of reverts to that, okay, I need a cross, I need onions and garlic or whatever, you know, that kind of shit. Yeah. Like just to like do anything to protect herself because there's nothing to be done. Like literally it's such a good metaphor for like what she's going through, because like the driving force behind it is her husband's impending death, and she's just like having trouble dealing with that and being the caregiver for him. Like it is such a good, like it's a well done metaphor, man. It's so good.
Yeah. Now she disappears from the yard, and he walks out into the rest of the house and turns the lights on, doesn't see anything, and then she's right the fuck behind him, and he doesn't see her.
They do this a few times.
Just like a mom, never giving you your personal space.
Mom, you're supposed to knock.
Yeah. But they do this a lot, though, where you think it's going to be a jump scare, and it's not a jump scare, and then the jump scare comes from behind them instead of where you thought it was going to come from. They do it like twice, I think really effectively, because both times I jumped. Like, it was very scary both times, and it really got me. This is one of them.
Yeah, and so we cut to Friday, the next day. Louise wakes up, turns the lights on, and goes to the bathroom, and it looks like there's blood and scratches all over her face, but she checks the bed, and it's lipstick.
I think she realizes it when she starts to like touch it, it doesn't hurt, and then she starts to wash it off, and that's when she goes, and she looks, like the first place she looks, she finds the lipstick, but she like lifts the covers off her dad, and she sees the lipstick like there, sort of like he had hidden it, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, we didn't see him doing it or anything like that.
Or did she do it to herself?
That's what I thought, knows? Paige. Yeah.
Because she was in that bed too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
This reminds me of the Who Did the Poop episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the phone rings and she runs in to answer it. And it's a disconnected number.
But it's like the one when you call.
You call out, yes.
It's not like if someone called you and it disconnected, right? Which would never happen if your phone rang and you answered it.
Right. So the phone rings again. She answers again, and it's the mom's voice, and it just says, I told y'all not to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we cut to the brother driving in, and there's an old minister out front, and he's like, can I help you? And he's like, you must be Michael. I was hoping we could have a little talk. I knew your mom. Here's a cross. And I think the brother's like, this must have been where she was getting them. I'll let him in.
Well, I think we'll let him in because we want to sort of interrogate him ourselves, because I think my mother's crazy slide into religious nutbaggery, which that's not what I'm saying, but I think that's what Michael feels was like started by this person, right? So they want to figure out what he was telling their mom to make her believe this was happening.
Yeah.
Again, goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is there's no logical. This person is not going to give you a piece of it. If she is having dementia or psychotic or was depressed or like, this is not going to explain everything. This is just you searching for answers where there are none. You need to just get therapy.
Yes. Yeah. Ultimately, yes. Talk about it. Share your feelings. Like get support. Like those kind of things. But neither of them do.
And get away from the house.
But they invite him inside and he reads the diary, and they basically ask him, they're like, she was not a religious woman and you're saying you came and met with her and then this seems to have started. Was she in a bad place and you encouraged it? I think is what they're asking.
Yes. Or took advantage of it.
Yeah. And he basically is like, look, I don't care if you believe in the devil or not. The wolf doesn't care if you believe he's a wolf when he finds you alone in the woods.
Yeah.
Is the analogy he uses, which is also, there are wolves around. We're hearing them at night. So like, it's a common analogy for the farm, but we never see them.
Yeah.
And he in this scene is fucking ominous.
Dude, the actor crushes it.
Yeah.
Because even when he's talking in like a very supportive, like, let me be helpful kind of way, it does come off as a little bit creepy and then just progressively gets more creepier as the family of atheists start pushing him on, why did you do this to our mom? That kind of shit,
Yeah.
And he stands up for himself and like you weren't here.
Yeah.
She needed help. I came to help, which fuck, it's just such a good metaphor because like these conversations take place.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man.
Well, and he basically is like, look, you think she's crazy because she saw the demon coming, but the demon's already here.
Yeah. Oh, and he says that in like haloed in the door.
Yeah.
So it's just his silhouette in that door. Oh, it's such a good shot.
He's fucking terrifying. Just the way he delivers the line, all of it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut back and forth between Louise going out to the barn in the rain and looking at the rope and trying to figure out how her mom got up there versus Michael on the phone with his family and he's like, I am really struggling. Like, please hug the girls for me. I'm not doing well. But we cut back to the barn and we hear her reading the diary and we see the chimes go off, but there's nothing there to trigger them. And Louise calls out for Michael, but he's not there. And we see just a shadow behind her on the wall.
Man,
fucking
I
terrifying.
hate shit like that. It scared the shit out of me because you want to be like, run.
Yes.
But of course she doesn't see it because it's behind her. Fuck.
There's so many scares in this movie that the people living in the world of this movie don't see.
Right.
Which is a great device to make you as an audience be like, look out! But
it does such a good job with the impending dread. It's just so good.
It's so good. So we cut to her sitting on the porch and she says to Michael, she wasn't crazy. I'm not crazy.
Right.
Because I'm now seeing things and I believe her, essentially.
Yeah.
And then Michael finally confesses to her. He's like, I saw something.
Yeah.
She was floating out there and I know she couldn't have been there. It can't be real, but it was fucking there.
And it wasn't a dream.
This is the moment they should have abandoned ship.
Yes.
Yeah, just get in the car and run.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because ultimately they go inside and go to sleep and they hear the howling at night and Michael wakes up, Louise wakes up, and in the living room they're like, there is something out there. And from outside we hear both the howling but also the snarling.
Yes.
The unearthly sound, I will call it, because it's no one animal. It's nothing that you can kind of isolate.
Yeah.
So they go to the door and it's the old preacher outside and he just says, you should come outside. And they're like, what?
He does sort of say it just like that. Like, it's not 3 a.m, like it's not weird for him to be there. He says it in a very like, just come on outside, buddy. Like,
just come on outside.
I hated it.
Yeah, just come on out.
Come on outside. And they're like, you can't just show up here. And he kind of laughs. He's like, don't worry, come on outside. And thus begins the scariest jump scare in this fucking movie.
When she grabs a flashlight?
Yes, because they take a flashlight and shine it on his face, and he is clearly a full demon.
Yeah.
Well,
his eyes look like the dad's eyes when he was where Louise was in the shower. Mm-hmm. Like they're completely white, and it's just like it's so creepy. I hated it.
Well, and he's just like, come on outside.
Yeah.
Come outside. And you're just like, oh God, oh no. And they turn, because the phone rings, they turn back and he's fucking gone.
Yeah.
So she goes to the phone and he's like, don't answer it. She hangs it up and takes the cord off the wall.
Well, because he goes outside.
Yeah.
So they're separating. Dude, the impending dread of this alone, when they're separating, I was like, why are you doing that? Never leave their side again.
Yeah.
I would have been in my car so fast. I mean, like, we got to get out.
Mikey, same. Like, we'll call someone to go get Dad. Like, we have to go.
Now, here's the crazy thing. So we then cut to who the phone call is coming from. And it's coming from Charlie, the farmhand, who believes that he sees Louise slitting her own throat in his trailer.
Well, and like cutting herself all over her face, and it's like,
right.
And she's moving in a very creepy way where they speed warp the film, so she moves in like a jerky way.
Yeah.
And it's such a creepy effect, man.
It's so creepy, and he's hearing the voices, he's hearing the whispers, and unfortunately he sticks his shotgun in his mouth and dies by suicide, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which will come back later, because then they try to contact him and no one can get a hold of him. They then kind of reconvene and they're like, well, I guess we just go to bed. Like, they close up the house and we cut to Saturday the next day. And the next day they're like, there's no footprints, there's no tracks. Charlie hasn't answered his phone in 2 days, and he was the one trying to call them. what do we do? And their answer is like, well, let's take dad to a hospital. And they're like, well, we'd have to have a doctor come out because an ambulance would have to take him. They can't just put him in the car, right?
Yeah. I'd argue that that's what they should have done the night before.
Same.
But I understand. I do think the movie creates realistic obstacles for them leaving the farm. Like,
yeah.
I didn't hate that at all because I do feel like they might have made that choice.
Yeah. Well, and this is dark and a thing that I probably don't want to admit, but here I will say I would have probably left the farm and been like, look, we're waiting for him to die anyway, and he's not conscious, and it's not safe for us here. Like, we gotta go.
There's clearly a demon.
Dad lived a long life.
Yeah.
He did, but you could also just be like, hey, live-in care nurse lady.
Yes.
Maybe not live-in care nurse lady, but like, hey, remember that time you offered us the 24-hour service? Yeah, go ahead and upgrade us to that package immediately.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Give us a call when he expires.
Or call any number of people.
Yeah.
But they decide they're going to get a doctor out there the next morning. But my favorite is Louise in this moment just says, you saw his face. Like, you saw it when I put the flashlight on it.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
You know, but like, yeah, he did. So then she calls the number he left them. And she's like, hi, I'm Louise Straker. And he's like, how'd you get this number? She's like, you gave it to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm at a hotel in Chicago. You called my room. And she's like, you were in Texas with us yesterday. He's like, I've never been to Texas. I don't know you. I don't know your mother, but you have the same name as my daughter and you sound just like her. And she killed herself a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, like you do tell people when they call the wrong number.
Yeah.
I thought this conversation was wild, but like, I was very terrified we were going to hear a gunshot right before she hung up the phone.
Instead, he goes, did you know 10,000 dogs get humanly sacrificed throughout the country?
This for me is the one thing that doesn't work because it's too outside the world that we're playing with.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
You could have it if he was like, there was an entity that haunted my family and killed my daughter's family or something. Like that was a chance to lore build or something, and either go all the way or don't.
Or it could have just been like, I've never met you. I've never been there. We didn't need the part about the daughter because that just confuses, that muddies the waters.
Right. Unless it's like we're adding lore to the story. Why even put that in?
Yeah.
Right.
Because we don't need it. It doesn't impact our story at all.
Yeah. So the doctor comes to the house and they're like, have you noticed any changes? And they're like, yeah, shit's fucking bad and we need to get him out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think he'd make it to the highway, so we have to leave him. Which again, I think they would still move him.
I honestly don't know, but I don't think that matters because I don't think this is the doctor. I think this is the demon, like concocting a reason why they can't go.
It's Dr. Demon Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a PhD, so...
Ooh, he's actually a podiatrist.
Your dad's feet are so fucked. He would not be able to walk to the highway, so...
We can't move this man. His feet can't take it. I think we should call another hospital and get a second opinion. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's what they do. Like, that's the plan, is to like get a second opinion the next day, but they wait a whole day to do it, and Michael doesn't make it that day, right?
Right.
So like he does, as the doctor leaves, end up talking to the nurse, and she's like, hey, I get that you're scared and I feel weird shit in this house, but I feel like love protects people and you love your dad. And so, you know, you staying with him is helpful. But at a certain point, it gets out of hand, especially next as he goes out and sees a goat that's missing a leg, and they find literally all their goats dead.
Would also left immediately there.
Same.
Or called the police and been like, I have to leave.
Well, clearly 10,000 goats die every year in a cult sacrifice.
All of them this night, apparently, because it's a shitload of goats.
Yeah.
And they have to like burn the carcasses and stuff, but they do point out that like this is not the way wolves attack.
Yeah, wolves would never do this.
I just want to think about the survivor's guilt that one goat feels like after he watched every other goat get murdered that takes one of his legs and he walks off.
Yeah.
And he'll never know why. Why did he spare me?
Well, they say that there's like 5 or 6 of them left.
Well, we never see...
And some of them babies.
Yeah.
We do, because that's why he goes out to the barn.
Oh, no, I'm saying we never see them actually get killed.
Yeah.
It's just like it's revealed to us, but we don't have to see it happen, which I was very grateful for.
Yeah, so after they burn the carcasses in a giant delicious barbecue.
Would you have wasted that meat? Because there was still some meat on them bones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have eaten the shit out of that meat, but it might have been infected by demons, and that would have been bad.
Just real spicy meat.
Extra spicy.
But you know they have to murder all the goats after goat yoga, and they have to get a new pack for the next session.
Yeah, that's I live in a pretty affluent area, Paige, and they call it virgin goat yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want one that's been touched by another yogaist.
No, the baby goat.
It happened literally 10,000 a year, probably more.
Yeah.
Sometimes, just to make myself feel better, I watch goat parkour videos where it's just baby goats jumping and doing their thing, but then people have overlaid it with like parkour.
Paige, I love those fucking videos.
I love them.
Goats are like a one-use kind of animal. Like
No, they're absolutely not. They can live for years on a steady diet of tin cans and shoelaces.
that's the devil's food. You know what was in those tin cans? Boston baked beans.
Mikey, we had to cut most of the Boston
Oh
shit.
my God.
Well,
I'll figure it out.
cut all the stuff that makes me sound bad. Thanks. Bye.
That is the challenge every week, Mikey.
We cut to after the delicious barbecue. Michael is going to go out to the barn and kind of comfort the remaining goats. And he asks Louise to stay with their father.
Yeah.
And we do see him out there comforting the baby sheeps and the baby goats and little baby lambs.
It was so cute, a little baby goat.
I think it's a lamb.
Is it?
I think he's got a baby sheep, but it's very cute.
It's so cute. He was my friend.
Yes. So we cut to her reading her mom's journal. But back in the barn, Becky calls as he's about to walk back into the house, but he doesn't answer the phone because all of the alarms go off, the like jingle alarms.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there. He gets out a knife and he's like, "Who was out there? Go on, get!"
Yeah, he
Get
did.
demon. Get away.
It's like, this is the first time we've ever seen somebody say, "Go on, get" for serious in a movie.
I'm an atheist. You get on out of here.
Yeah. But we do hear his mom singing hymns, and he's like, "Go away." She comes out of the dark, like midsummer levels of naked.
Oh, yeah, man.
He should have shot her.
He didn't have a gun. He just had a knife.
Yeah.
He should have stabbed her. I wouldn't close my eyes like a little baby bitch like he did.
That's his mom, though. Like, well, and also it's a hallucination. He probably wouldn't have been able to stab it, you know, probably would have disappeared or something. Like, but yeah, no, I would have tried to defend myself and or just fucking run away. Like, it's so scary. And it like slowly creeps up to him. It's not like it pops out of nowhere.
Yeah, Michael thinks he's so manly with his nice beard, but when his naked mom comes to haunt him, he just cries in the corner like a little girl.
I can't believe you're shaming him for this.
I know. Mikey is like bullying Michael.
I hold Michael's to high standards.
What do you have against the bearded, Mikey?
I can't grow one. It's patchy.
Soft skin baby bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, she comes right up on him and he's like, "You're not real," but he does have the knife out and she disappears and then she pops up right the fuck behind him and it's fucking scary.
This is the second time they do that.
Yes.
Like Dipsy Doodle, where you think it's going to be a scare and then it like releases the tension a little bit and then boom, scare. Terrifying.
I don't usually use Dipsy Doodle to describe that. I use Dipsy Doodle to describe what I do in my free time with Dipsy.
I don't dipsy doodle until the fourth date.
Mikey, I know for a fact you're a first date kind of guy.
You don't know that.
Well, Dipsy Doodle is just where you leave a voice recording of you by yourself for someone else to enjoy on their own time.
A dipsy doodle is when you draw you and your partner having sex and give it to them on the third date.
But you just whisper into there, you're like, "Look at this."
Yeah.
You get ASMR in their face. Yeah.
It's just the sound of you drawing it. Look at this.
Mine's just stick people because I'm not a good drawer.
Stick people with like arms and legs like completely out.
Anyway, so he falls with the knife to his own neck.
Yes.
And puts it down. But Louise, we cut to Louise, who sees him just quickly walk into the house. We cut to him in the bedroom and he's freaking the fuck out and he still has the knife. And it seems like he's going to go kill his dad. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Oh, no, I thought he was going to kill himself like he does in a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, but we cut into the room with Louise and there's like a claw shadow, which is wild. And then she hears the snarling and everything right next to her in the bed. She closes her eyes and it's almost like sleep paralysis where she finally like gets up the nerve and punches onto that side of the bed and there's no one there. And she looks up and her dad is on the ceiling.
And like gasping for breath. Like it's very creepy. Like looking like he needs help.
Yes.
And is just out of reach. Like there's so many like This movie works on many levels.
Well, Grandpa Joe over there drank fizzy whizzles.
The fizzy lifting drinks.
Shit, I didn't write down that we were doing Wonka stuff too.
I've got a golden ticket.
That was my first thought before the animal sacrifice.
Yes.
Before the animal sacrifice runner that I have to cut out.
Did you know 10,000 Oompa Loompas get sacrificed every year in occult rituals?
No, Mikey. No.
Oompa Loompa Doompity dead. I've got a knife that's held to your head.
Face.
Yes.
That's a lotte of dead Oompa Loompas.
I love that Mikey just like butchered that punchline.
I got too excited.
I like that you interrupted me in the moment singing a brand new Oompa Loompa song about ritual sacrifice.
We almost got a full verse, Mikey.
That's a lotte dead Oompa Loompas.
I honestly don't know if he's trying to be Spanish or Italian, but they're both romance languages.
No, he's trying to say a lot, but elote, like mayonnaise corn, chili street corn, elotes.
All right.
They're delicious.
I know. I love street corn.
You could fill a whole maze with that many dead Oompa Loompas.
Oh, God.
I can't. It's only 7 p.m. here, but this is like 2 a.m. energy.
I've been up since 2 a.m., Paige.
I don't understand why you guys are judging me. It's very corn on the snob.
Why are we doing corn puns?
I don't know.
Elote? That's how we got there.
Oh, God. Anyway, so we cut to Sunday where she notices some scratches and cuts on her dad's neck. She goes looking for Michael, and he is fucking gone.
Yes. And he left a fucking while ago.
Yes.
He's like, I'm sorry, lady. I drove through the night.
Yeah.
And you should leave, too. Like, this is great advice.
Yeah.
You need to leave. I left. I couldn't take it. Get out of there.
Yep. Meanwhile, the doorbell rings, and it's a young girl who's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. And by young, I mean like teens.
I got like late-ish teens.
Early 20s.
Yeah, like maybe a college student age, maybe late high school. I don't know.
Yeah. But she's like, hey, I'm Charlie's granddaughter. You might not remember me. I was very little the last time I saw you, but we've been calling and no one answered. And we wanted you guys to know that Charlie died. Unfortunately, he shot himself 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to, tell you so that you know. And also sorry about your mom. And she says, oh my God, she's overwhelmed. And she's like, can you come inside? I have to go check on Dad. And she won't come on in.
Yeah.
And so she's like, just come in. I just want to check on him. And she just says, no, but do you smell him? I bet you do. I smell him too. He's close and he's rotting. And you're like, oh, this is the demon. It's not a little girl.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I hated it. It's so bad.
So she runs away from her, screams. There's no one out there. The door is open. Of course, this girl's right behind her.
Again, with the behind you jump scares.
Oh, it's awful.
Yes. And she's like, you're all alone, little girl. And it's got like a demon voice. Fucking terrifying.
Yes.
So she calls Michael's cell. It goes to message. She plugs the phone back in and calls Michael's cell. And as she's doing that, the nurse shows up and is like, hey, I told Michael yesterday, I'm sorry I'm late. How's Dad doing? And she lights a prayer candle.
I love that she comes in this super tense scene and it's just like, oh, sorry I'm late. I told Michael I'd be late. How are things? And it's just like, she's just like working her shift, and that's the way she would have walked in. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. Well, and so she lights a prayer candle, sets it next to the bed. Meanwhile, Louise plugs the phone back in, calls Michael, and I think Michael sees that the call is coming from the house.
Yeah.
And answers it. And she's like, what the fuck? I woke up and you were gone. And he's like, I drove all night. I couldn't stay there. You should fucking leave too.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't just leave. You left me here. I can't leave. And he's like, you gotta. Like, you should leave. But as this is happening, the nurse in the room with the dad has like a little spider across her face, and we see her kind of eyeing her knitting needles, and she starts stabbing herself with her knitting needles.
I hated it so much, especially when she gets to the eyes.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, and so Louise hangs up the phone because she hears a scream. She runs in. She sees her stabbing herself. And the nurse is like, why don't you hear him? Why don't you hear him? And like smashes Louise's head against the wall till she loses consciousness.
Yeah.
So we cut to Louise's body being dragged by the nurse, as the nurse is like clearly hearing voices, and then stabs herself once in each eye.
Yeah.
And then dies.
Of course.
From, I assume, loss of blood and brain damage.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
Like, boom, out. Michael gets home to his house and he doesn't see Becky or his two daughters anywhere, but he hears a record on and he goes to the kitchen and it looks as if the girls are both dead at the table, throat slit, and then Becky is dead on the floor, having slit her own throat as well.
Yes.
And he is obviously incredibly distressed, like despondent, and takes the knife that he has had this whole time.
It's like a little pocket knife.
Yeah, slits his own throat, but as he does, the table is then empty. The wife is gone. It was an illusion. It didn't really happen.
It's an illusion, Michael.
It's an illusion.
A trick is something the devil does for money. Sorry.
Yes. He dies as Becky gets home with donuts and finds his body.
With both of their kids. It's brutal.
And it's like extra sad because he was really craving donuts.
Oh, yeah.
I sent Jake out to get me donuts this morning. Sometimes you just get a hankering.
So, like, this death I didn't like, and I feel like doesn't do a great job to reinforce what I think the metaphor of this movie is, because he is separating himself from that grief in a way that I think is like he needs to get some distance from it and reconnect with people he can talk to about it. Mm-hmm. And it still kills him. Like, one of the reasons I feels like this is so nihilistic.
This is where it goes too far.
Yeah.
The metaphor I think works way better if, and I don't care if it's him or Louise, whoever gets away survives, right?
It was this scene I knew no one was going to survive.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, well, that makes the rest of the movie less interesting.
It didn't make it less scary, though.
Well, it just went too far.
I agree.
Went too far. And the dead kids were really creepy looking.
That was really creepy looking.
Yes.
Meanwhile, back on the farm, the phone rings. It wakes Louise up on the floor. And her dad is breathing heavily. He's not doing well. The nurse is dead. And she runs out of the house. She's like, I can't. I have to go. And it does look like there's someone outside, but we don't get a good look at them.
Yeah.
But she hears her dad coughing inside. So she goes back inside and she's like, I won't leave you. She hears Michael yelling for help, but recognizes that it's not him because I guess he couldn't have gotten back in time or whatever.
Yeah.
But the candle goes out next to her dad. He coughs. She says, I love you and I won't leave you. She hears a creak in the house and her dad breathes out like one last breath. He dies.
It's a death rattle. It's like, yeah, it's his last breath.
Rosebud.
She screams in anguish, right?
Yeah.
But then she hears the song of what sounds like her mom singing. And as she turns to look for it, her dad sits up and attacks her.
Did you see his eyes open before that, though?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's the movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you guys think about the dark and the wicked?
I think it's done really well. I don't love the nihilism. I could have used a little bit more world building. I know it's rare that we're like a movie should be 15 minutes longer, but I could have taken 15 minutes. That's all world building.
Same. I honestly can't think of another movie where we said that, but I agree with you. I think this movie needs a little bit more of that. But man, I really love like the metaphor of this movie. I do think because of the nihilistic ending, it does feel a little ham-fisted by the end of the movie with the metaphor. But
yeah,
like I super identify with the kind of grief this is, and like I sort of really enjoyed the way they worked it into this very scary movie. Like I will never watch this movie again unless I'm forced to for this show, but only because it's so scary.
Right.
It is, I think, a very well done movie. And if you like this type of like atmospheric sort of Ari Aster stylish movies, you should definitely check out this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I dug it, but got too nihilistic. But that's my,
I agree, Mikey, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super scary, super atmospheric. Loved it. I loved watching it, and it was a really good time. I think people will really like this movie, but I do think some people like me and you, Todd, like the nihilism just gets too much.
Yeah. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I have a few, not a ton.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Animals,
fun facts. Did you know 10,000 animals are sacrificed every
year?
That's a fun fact or whatever.
2,000 toucans are toucaned away for the pagan gods.
2,000 toucans got canned from their job.
14 lemurs are kind of depressed about
Follow your nose to Satan.
fruit rings of hell. Yeah.
You ever wonder why that cereal's rainbow colored, Mikey?
Because it's delicious. Fruit Loops is one of my favorite cereals.
Fruit Loops slaps. I had it every morning I was in the hotel, and they had a lot of cereal choices, Paige. A lot. And I went with Fruit Loops every time. It was so good.
I feel like this is one step towards clearing you of your weird Crispix addiction.
If they had had Crispix, it would have been that, man. Crispix is so good.
Ugh. Anyway, this movie was filmed at the director's family farm.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And this would have had its world premiere at Tribeca. It was slated for a theatrical release.
It's a huge film festival, too, man. That would have been great.
COVID happens, unfortunately.
I really do think this movie would have done very well in the theaters. Like,
I think so too.
I think so too.
When we talk box office, I really only have like a budget, really, but like, I really think it would have surpassed that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like Prey is finally getting a theatrical release, and I'm like, good, I want to see that on the big screen. If this got a theatrical release, I'd absolutely go see it in the theater. I think it'd be fucking terrifying.
I wouldn't, but if you like this kind of movie, it would definitely be worth the cost of admission for sure.
Absolutely. So the girl who visits the farm towards the end, her name is Ella Ballantine, and she actually is in the director's other film, The Monster.
Okay.
So he kind of utilized her multiple times. The scene where the priest is waiting outside the gate at the front of the driveway when Michael pulls up in his car in the rain, there apparently was a large spider dangling from his hat that they had to remove in between takes. Yeah.
Ew.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, here's one of my favorite things, because there's not a ton of fun facts. The only other fun fact is that the candle features Señora de Guadalupe, which, like, yes, it does. There you go. If you've ever seen candles at the grocery store, that is Guadalupe. But the only other fun fact that I was kind of able to find looks like it was added by the person it's about.
Oh, I love these.
And I always think that's really fun, where people add fun facts about themselves.
Yes.
So this says, quote, and this is from IMDb, quote, one rainy day on the set, makeup artist Tara Brawley's truck got stuck in the mud out by the pet cemetery and was rescued by the gaffer, Jesse Curl, and his equipment. Jesse Curl is also the inventor of the Curl Grip, an innovation in dolly grippery employed for the first time in this film.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Good for him for adding this to IMDb.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. Although I do want to say this, Brian Bertino also did The Strangers in 2008. That was like his big claim to fame up until this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I hated that movie. Our episode, I shit on it the whole time. This movie is so much better than that as far as like the execution of the scares. Like, it's so good.
Yes.
We never did the sequel to that.
No, we didn't. And people did, like, a lot of people were like, I agree with Todd a little bit. The second one's way better, which I believe, because that one, obviously it's after the first one, but it's also like pretty far after that one. It's 2018. It's 10 years later.
Yeah.
I remember we tore into that. Yeah.
The only reason I bring that up is to say he's clearly gotten way better as a director.
Yeah.
Because I have no directorial problems with this movie at all. It's stellar. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think the production budget was for this movie, however, in 2020?
I think because they're utilizing the family farm, they saved a lot on locations. There's no really big names, just the girl from Umbrella Academy.
And I wouldn't say she's a big name. She's just a working actress on like a streaming TV show.
I'm going to say this is made for $5 million or less.
Okay.
I'm going to say 7.
Okay. So this movie actually cost $13 million to make.
Wow.
Which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, because they do so much practically.
Yes.
But it could be lighting because it's almost exclusively night shoots. And they shot at night, you can tell.
You can
Which is
tell.
more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, except for when the plot has them out during the day, which is not a whole lot.
Right.
But you also have a lot of time to set up the lights in just that perfect way so they're sort of silhouetted. Like, I could see the shoot taking a while. Also, they may have been filming around the time of that first COVID lockdown.
Yes.
And those kind of things can bloat budgets. But like,
no, because this was supposed to be released at the beginning of the lockdown. So they would have already been done.
I guess that makes sense because it didn't hit Shudder until I think November-ish.
Yeah. Well, and it was on Hulu before that.
Yeah. So like if they were planning a big theatrical release and then like a VOD release, like video on demand release, that this would have come after that. But it did get a little bit of a box office run in November November of 2020, but not many people were going to movies around that time. I'll just go ahead and tell you worldwide, this movie only brought in $743,000.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I think it did well on streaming, though.
Oh, I think it should have done well on streaming. Part of the strike is those streamers don't share that information, so we have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know.
I do remember people talking about this movie when, Paige, you asked movies that would scare you specifically. So, like, clearly this movie did capture some buzz in the horror community.
Yeah, of course.
But it just didn't translate to dollars because no one was going to the movie theaters at that time.
Well, and it came out on VOD, like, right in lockdown, like the beginning. I remember it was, like, on the first line of movies you can rent for, like, months.
Yeah, because it was the original premiere date, because it was supposed to have an actual in-person premiere, was at Tribeca, but Tribeca got canceled.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, early into pandemic, like within a few months. And so that's why it ends up so early on VOD, that they just kind of immediately put it there.
Yeah, so it was supposed to run between April 15th and the 26th of 2020.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have premiered then. And then I would assume, had COVID not happened, would have hit the theater shortly after that, within a month or two of that, right?
Yeah. Or a few months, but
yeah. I do think the buzz from that festival of this movie would have hyped it up.
Yes.
You would have seen a lot more trailers for it, and it would have made a lot more money. But, unfortunately, it didn't because COVID.
Yep.
But that's your box office. So, Mikey, do you want to hit him with that scary scale?
Yeah, our scary scale listener, to scale of 1 to 10 of how scary we watched the film today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters, and our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Paige.
I give this like a 6, personally.
Todd.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 7. This movie is scary and, like, sort of triggers some grief trauma that I have. So, yeah, it was very scary for me.
You don't need your life score, just the score. Thank you. I'm going to give it a 5 because it did scare me, but not as much as, like, Incantation. That movie scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that movie is very fucking scary.
Oh, there are definitely scarier movies out there, but this one is scary.
Yeah, but this one's good. This one's good. Like, if you haven't seen this, it's worth the time.
It absolutely is. Yes.
Yes.
All right, that's our scary scale.
Well, this week, Paige, you made us watch The Dark and the Wicked. What are you having us watch next week, guys?
I'm not. It's a listener request.
Ah, that's right. It is listener request. And the listeners, in their infinite wisdom, chose for their 4 wild card finalists, Talk to Me, Lake Mungo, Willy's Wonderland, and the original Psycho. But Talk to Me almost got 50% of the votes. So, like, it crushed the vote. The next closest one was Willy's Wonderland at 22%. So your homework for next week is to watch Talk to Me, or you may have just seen it in theaters, but that is your homework for next week. So, Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
I'm pulling one up right now, Todd.
Well, excellent. Well, while you're pulling it up, let me tell them how they can have their review read on the podcast, and that's to leave us a 5-star text review, and we'll have Mikey read it for you. So, Mikey, whose review are you going to read this week?
These newts.
Wow.
Not D's nuts. What?
Is that really what it is?
NOOOOOOTZ.
Holy shit. What does D's Newts have to say? That's amazing.
D's Newts, this might be my favorite review ever. Title of review, love this podcast.
Hell yeah, D's Newts.
Body of review, I love how they talk about different horror movies and then talk about fun facts. 5 stars.
Thank you.
Here are my 2 favorite segments, 5 stars.
The only 2 segments, really.
Well, okay, we talk box office 2-page. Rude. Well, D's Nudes, thank you so much for that 5-star review. And if you want to have Mikey read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review, or you could interact with us by leaving us a comment under the episode on Spotify.
Yeah.
And this one was left on our Pope's Exorcist episode that was the most recent release to this recording. It was from Diana, and she said, as someone raised Catholic, this is the most I've learned about Catholicism. And Diana, I love that for you. That was amazing.
Diana, you're lazy, and you should have learned how to speak Latin, and you would have known all about
then your
Catholicism.
prayers would have had the correct amount of power, apparently.
Yeah, obviously you're not sacrificing animals like you should be.
No, Mikey.
You have to get rid of 3 ferrets to be blessed in.
No, don't do that.
Blood in, blood out. You know them Catholics.
You guys won't let me start a church to dodge taxes for this show. But if you want to interact with us on Spotify, leave us a comment under the episodes, guys. So, guys, if you like this show but want to hear this power throuple on another movie review show about romance and romantic comedies, check out Romancing the Pod, where Mikey, Paige, and I break down and make fun of romantic movies. It's a lot of fun, guys. Check it out. If you want to follow us on social, please do. We are at Horror Virgin or online at horrorvirgin.com. If you want to follow us all individually, you can do that as well. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Twitter or Rampage Wesley everywhere else, including TikTok. Mikey is at mrandolph24 and I am at Todd J. Awesome. If you like the show so much and you want to help financially support it, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where you can get a lot of great levels and a lot of great stuff like bonus episodes, director's cut episodes where they're a little bit longer and you get them actually a day earlier than the regular feed drop. We do a lot of great things like listener requests and stuff like that. So guys, check out the Patreon and help support the show.
If you want to financially support me, but not Todd, just look me up on Venmo.
If you can't financially support the show, that's understandable. That's fine. But if you want to hang out with us on the daily, join the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/horrorvirgin. We also link it like once a week. So just find it there and join the awesome Facebook group. Literally, we're in there talking every day. It's awesome. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to check out our Twitch stream, we're at twitch.tv/Todd Awesome, where we will be playing horror video games. So if you have always wondered what it would be like to watch me get scared, you can now do that on Twitch while I play these horror games. It's twitch.tv/Todd Awesome, guys. Check it out. It's a lot of fun for you. Not a lot of fun for me. This episode also brought to you by Tia, and Tia's teenager's been like driving her crazy this week. So how is Tia's teenager driving her crazy this week?
She keeps showing up at farmhouses uninvited and telling people that her grandfather died.
Do you smell that? That's what she's like.
He's rotting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe you should have her stop being creepy to the neighbors, Tia. This episode also brought to you by Jonathan, and Jonathan says this week. He was like, hey, no video this week. We're at a huge 4-day music festival with basically no signal, and my dumb ass forgot to do it earlier in the week. Thanks for all three of you do, and all the hard work you do is noticed and appreciated. And I want to point out that this happened, I received that message during the time right before all the shit that happened at Burning Man happened at Burning Man. So side note, Jonathan, I hope you made it home safe if that's where you were.
Well, Burning Man's not a music festival, so.
Oh, that's true. So he's probably fine. Cool.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the support either way. But we now return you to another episode of the Patreonicals.
Okay. Well, let's start a new thing in Fairy Tale World or whatever. The queen is like, Queen Libby of Fairy Tale Kingdom is like, I'm bored. So she reaches her little dainty hands into Jay's pack, the magical pack, and pulls out magical beans.
Haven't we already done Jack and the Beanstalk?
I'm doing it again.
Okay. It's a reprise, Paige.
There are giants in the sky. There are big, tall, terrible giants in the sky.
Into the woods, baby.
And then she goes, to get these beans to work, we must sacrifice 10,000 animals.
They're everywhere. It's not just in America.
I'm so sad that I brought up our weird mail.
Oh my God, that's how we got there. Oh, I forgot that part of it.
Yeah, definitely make it seem like I didn't commit a federal crime. Thank you.
Yes,
allegedly.
And don't make me seem racist.
It wasn't you, Mikey. It was you making fun of the dude who was racist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you saying it like that does not help you not sound racist.
I don't want you to get me into a hot tamale.
So we got to get to the beanstalk. We need hair that's yellow as silk.
So, Glinda the Good Witch, Erin, she says, those are magic beans. And then the other witch, Rivermoon, was like, no shit, thank you.
Rivermoon is like, over it.
Yes, the witches, they fight. Driscoll, with his Iron Man suit, was like, let's plant them, and he uses his lasers to dig a hole. And then Jeremy was like, my lasers are better out of my eyes, and he digs a hole with him, and it becomes a laser off, and they dig a nice hole. So that's good. Isaac the Black Knight was like, I'm going to sleep. This seems like a boring episode. Kate uses her psychic powers to put the beans in the hole. Karun and Natasha were like, what about our children? Rumpelstiltskin stole them and we haven't resolved that plot line
at all.
And
we're not gonna this week.
yeah, unless the Prince Charming was like, who cares about your blue children? Yeah, we'll Allie the mermaid was like consoling them and was like, we'll find your children. The children are lost. And it's kind of like a scene from the movie Prisoners, but with a mermaid and 2 blue aliens.
That movie is good but dark.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie.
Paige, you should
Prisoners?
see it.
Oh, wow, it's good.
No, not until you watch fucking Time Cop, son.
I've seen them both.
I know Mikey has. This is for Todd. Todd won't watch Stars or Time Cop, and we have got beef.
It's not that I won't. It's that I don't have time.
Time Cop.
I would if I had a time cop. That's what it is.
Bo Easy conjures his jet ski and splashes water into the hole to feed the magic beans. Mr. Rage Bomb uses his fireworks to cover the beans with soil in a way that just use your imagination. Sunzi, the stupid Tin Man, was like, I'll go find your children. And then he wanders off with Sexcalibur saying, please don't let this Tin Man take me into the woods again.
Oh, no.
Again?
And then Madeline the Jester cartwheels by and says, that's the end of the episode. Oh, and then a giant beanstalk again appears in the world of Fairy Tale Land.
I guess we'll have to wait till next week to see if Mikey remembers before he starts telling the story that it's Rumpelstiltskin themed.
Now we've got 2 plot lines.
Oh my God, we got an A and a B story. We'll see how they both resolve, ? Next week on another episode of the Patreonicals.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Bye. I've been up since 1:30 my time AM, nerds.
Beanstalk nerds.
I'm so fucking tired.
Go to sleep.